Welcome to the D-shaped Demon of the Desert, better known as Las Vegas Motor Speedway, for round number 3 of the SNN Cup Series. George Frasso, Matt Medler up in the booth with you for that one. As qualifying getting ready to start rolling here, we've got some cars making some moves already. Let's take a quick look who we've got. Nick Stein going to be one of the first ones to roll it.
Yeah, Nick Stein in that
02
machine.
You're about to see right behind the curtain real quick.
Getting a rare glimpse behind the curtain via Tony.
Because I want to be able to do this, and that's bring up the point standings coming into tonight, because we've got some interesting things going on right now. After both of their runs last week, RJ Root and Joe Stafford are now tied at the top of the heap with 86 points. J.C. Gibson currently sitting in third. Austin Story, Jeremy Miller rounding out your top 5. Travis Kranborg, your winner at Daytona, has dropped to 6th. Jeff Carson has dropped to 7th. Rich Jett has gained 2. Chris Claude has gained 2. But your two biggest movers right now are, actually Chris Claude and, Lauren Jones, and Seba Cornez, your two biggest movers currently at +7 and +8 to round out your top 10.
Yeah, Tony, when it's early in the season like that, sometimes you can negate a bad opening or a bad, couple races, have a strong, solid finish. And just like that, you're making 7, 8 positions in the standings. That's going to get harder to do as you go later on into the year. But certainly, you're right, massive shakeup in the standings after last week's final results.
Very much so, and it was a great finish, to say the least. As Nick Stein jumps to the top of the pile, Austin Story out on track. He goes fourth quick now. Joe Stafford has gone third quick. As see who we can find that is not already in the thick of things. Let's take a look at J.C. Gibson there. He is in the Blue Rhino number 27. And Matt, I'm looking at these weather conditions. They're not the worst we've seen here in Vegas, but they're definitely not the best.
No, but you're right. Sin City, as you said, the deep pit of the desert. It could be a lot worse. Right now, 83 degrees. Partly, that's the track temp. The ambient temperature, 69. It's not even 70 degrees. But look at the offset between the ambient temp and the track temp. But you're right, Tony. Certainly, we've seen much worse as we've been well into the triple digits here at Las Vegas, certainly at race time. Now, it's only noon sim time, so look for the temp to climb up a little bit. But certainly, catastrophe avoided here as we're only at barely 70 degrees out here. Very comfortable. That track should have some decent grip in it over the course of the early going. Have to see how it changes once you put some rubber in it. But at least these drivers have something good to work with right out of the gate with that track being at about a healthy 83 degrees.
And that's exactly it. You just hit the nail right square on the head there. Being as, this track does get greasy when it gets up maybe 95 and right up into the triple digits. So these guys aren't going to have to worry quite as much about tire degradation.
Hold
right?
it. Oh, the 81 just went drift central there. Oh, he's going to clobber the inside wall. Just trying to get a little too much there. He literally drifted all of 3 and 4. Thought he was going to have it. and he lost it there at the last second. And there goes that's a unfortunate way to kibosh your qualifying run. At least you get a new car there to start the race, but that's going to negate both of his laps, unfortunately, as I believe he touched the wall in the first lap as well.
Well, we're going to find out as we're watching along. Oh, yeah, you got Twitchy coming through 1 and 2, and that's where the wind is going to play havoc tonight, as it is a straight crosswind trying to blow the back end of the car up the track.
And
yeah, go ahead.
Just as you said that, Tony, that's exactly what we seen there on the replay. The wind coming across the racetrack, and it just skewed the car way out, and he had no choice but to try and dirt track it to save it.
The good news is it's a headwind down the front chute and a tailwind down the back chute. But the biggest problem is it's a cross breeze through both the corner sectors, and as you see right there, Charles Eaton trying to bail out to get down pit road. Practicing those pit road entries those can make you or break you tonight, Matt. I'm sure you're well aware here at Vegas.
Yeah, and I found that out the hard way a couple nights ago, as I did not practice pit road, and I was getting onto pit road way, way too soon. I gave up a ton of time, and I took myself right out of the top 10 by just butchering green flag pit stops. I could not agree with you more.
And this is not going to be the most difficult pit road entry we're going to see this season, but it's going to be up there. I believe we're going to the Milwaukee Mile this season, and personal opinion, that is the most difficult pit road to get on and off of any series we're going to broadcast.
So shift gears here real quick. MSRL, we actually ran the Milwaukee Mile. We had more incidences getting onto pit road over the course of that race than we did out on the racetrack. You almost had to survive pit road entry to stay in the race. That was a whole new experience, but I definitely got some respect for that pit road entrance at Milwaukee. Could not agree with you more.
Absolutely, and it's a very difficult pit road because it was never really intended for cars. That track originally was made for horse and buggy racing.
Well, you know what, Tony? You're a philosopher, well-rounded knowledge of the sport. I did not know that, but I thought there was something amiss there when I was trying to get pit road, especially at green flag speed, as it was just treacherous getting on and off. But now it makes sense, Tony. So thanks for the insight there. Horse and buggy racing, never would have thought.
Well, there's a lot of tracks that, they started as horse and buggy tracks and kind of got adopted over into, automobile racing. But only 2 drivers have not elected to take time tonight, one of whom is your current points leader, RJ Root. The other one is Ken Ron.
We'll talk about making it difficult there. The 69, like you said, decides to start all the way back deep in the field, right around the 42nd, 43rd position
I don't
here.
think he's going to start. I think it's a 42 cap tonight.
Well, that's an even bigger storyline than the points leader coming into tonight's race.
They do have time to get both laps in currently, but they're going to have to hustle it. If they're waiting for the track to cool off any further than it is, we've already dropped 2 degrees since we started qualifying because of the cloud cover right now. You can see Nellis Air Force Base, or you can see the bull ring there in the background at the top of your screen. And as we pan around, they call this the Nellis back straightaway because maybe a quarter mile to the outside of the backstretch wall is Nellis Air Force Base.
Yeah, that track was literally built right on the back doorstep of that air base. You want to talk about bringing the thunder in a different variety to the into the Air Force? You did it with the form of NASCAR, and this track thundering off there a couple different times over the years now. As we're getting well into our 25th, 26th season, going to Las Vegas now.
Well, something along those lines, yeah. But I mean, you figure you've got in the real world, you've got the bull ring, you've got the strip, which is on the outside of 1 and 2, or sorry, 3 and 4. The bull ring on the outside of 1 and 2. The road course configuration here. I don't think Las Vegas Motor Speedway is going to have to worry about noisy neighbors or complaints from the neighbors anytime soon.
You stole the words right out of my mouth, and that's probably one of the biggest benefits, right?
That is the biggest benefit right now going for them, is the fact that, they're surrounded by the military industrial complex. So, you know, it's good to see, but it's also kind of terrifying. And we won't really get into that right now because I'll get taken off the air. As RJ Root and Ken Ron are both not going to get laps in now. Neither one has tried to go out on track. So I guess we're going to see if they're going to take all 44 drivers here tonight.
Yeah, certainly. This is a huge turn of events. Like you were saying, Tony, your current points leader didn't make it out there in time, and now he's currently being shown in 40th position out there on the track. And that 69 machine is that iRacing.com pace car. Hits the start finish line as we start to grid up these competitors for tonight's race here in Sin City. But certainly RJ Root, he's going to have his work cut out for him tonight.
We are at that as we're taking a look at our current pole sitter. That's going to be Nick Stein in the 02. He's going to be joined on the front row with Travis Craneboard. As I'm just going to bring our grid up so I don't lose it. There we go. 29.464 for Stein. Only 4 thousandths to the good over Craneboard. Row number 2 is going to see the 14 Asiba Cornez, and he's going to be joined with our other man who's tied for the points. That is going to be Joe Stafford. There's Stafford to his outside for Money House. Row number 3 is going to go to Austin Story and Brendan Sheridan. And you see both those cars. Chad Sanner and Alan Bennett making up row number 4. Sanner in the Lucas Oil Chevy. He's got the Money House Chevy of Allen to his outside. Right behind them, there is the Toyota of Jeff Carson. He's going to be joined with the Chevy of Nick Rogers. And you know what? I think I might place a DoorDash order for Chipotle. Just because.
That's the second time you've done it to me. My phone's literally in my hand as we speak
know,
right
right?
now. And I'm humming back and forth. You solved my problem, Tony. Thank you.
Row number 6 going to go to Alex Princeton in his Toyota. He's going to be joined with Joe Cossey. Row number 7, J.C. Gibson. He's going to be joined with a man who is making his return to the league, Big Bob Nestor, the pride of Conshohocken, Pennsylvania. Row number 8 is going to go to Leo Bonacasa and Matt Gaskins. John Crow Sr. and Eugenio Alonso are going to be in row number 9. And there is Charles Eaton and Dave Frug in row 10. Sorry, I have that right? Yes, they are. And that's going to round out the top half of the field. Take us away, Matt.
Yeah, in row number 11, you're going to have the 71 of Dave Frug Jr., and you're going to have the 28 machine of Brian Tarnowski. Row number 12, that's going to be the 18 of Chris Custer and the 10 of Chris Claude.
Actually, I don't think you've got that right. I'm showing Custer and Buwalda in 12. Claude starting 22nd.
Thank you, Tony. I appreciate that, buddy.
23rd position, Emily Urias. 25th is Emily Urias. She's going to be joined with Nick Breidenbach. Then you've got Lauren Jones and Ryan Samuelson behind them. Love that Cheetos paint scheme on Jones's car. Ryan Samuelson going to start to his inside from what it looks like. And then behind them we have Steve Giberson and Dalton Mobley in row 15. Row 16 is going to Tanner Marty. He's going to be joined with R.P. Allen. Our very own Dave Regal is going to be going off from row number 17. He's going to be joined with Randy Spivey. Dave Regal and Randy Spivey. Then we've got John Wilco and Brad Gunn in row number 18 with row 19.
And that's going to be the 77 of Rick Jeanette and the 91 of Zachary Vaughn. Starting 37th tonight, that's going to be Alexander Glenier. 38th, that's going to belong to Tony Burt. Starting 39th, that's going to be Carvana Holt. 40th, that's going to belong to the 69 of Raymond Root, your points leader. And starting 41st here tonight, that's going to be the 33 of Ken Ron. So, Tony, we have a full field here tonight in Sin City. Some of these drivers already have a big hole they have to dig and claw their way out of. As we already see, we have one car here still on pit road, the 69 of Raymond Root.
We actually have two on pit road right now from what I'm seeing. Crimson electing to pit start as well from the 19. So that means did not qualifies R.P. Allen, Zach Vaughn, Brad Gunn, and Chris Custer. As we get ready to turn them loose here, it's time to wipe the visor and adjust the 5-point harness.
Green flag.
Grandma, grab the sunscreen because it's time to get it on in Sin City. Race fans, it's show time.
Oh, and nothing signifies showtime like the sound of V8's roar into life as they take the green flag here in Las Vegas. The 0-2 machine out front right now. There he is for leader. That's going to be Joseph Causey, currently up 11 spots already. As like that can't be right. I seem to have a timing and scoring error. Tony, take it from me.
I see this right now. Let's get through this first lap or so. But right now at the front of it is Travis Cranborg showing the way. So he got a little bit better start than Stein did. Right behind him, though, they're still door-to-door with Safford and Sheridan. And then a little bit of single filing out back there. As a matter of fact, we got to go all the way back to Captain America himself, Mr. Sean Rogers, in that Chipotle ride. Behind him is where they start to get double file. It looks like Charles Eaton trying to send one up through the middle. And thinks better of it.
Yeah, probably not the best move to try and pull off early here in the early going. Got a long way to go here. 3 wide with these cars in this aero package. That can get dicey. Decides to back off out of there and live and survive and live to race another day. Smart decision, heads up by that race car driver.
Very much so. It's Eugene Alonso working the top shelf right now on J.C. Gibson. Is Gibson going to drop back? Here comes Sean Rogers on the top side, working for 8th against Jeff Carson. Carson down on that low side. You know, we've seen it time and time again. This track is definitely a more outside favorable line. So if you get trapped on that low side like the 9 of Carson is, you're in for a long night. As here comes Alonso around the outside.
Yeah, the other thing, when you're trapped down there like that, you got to have the mental toughness not to burn those tires off the race car, just trying to maintain speed. You know, just take the car, take the positions that the other competitors give you out there on the racetrack. Don't abuse your tires early on because this track makes you pay for cooking those Dr. Feelgoods early. That's the biggest mistake you can make when you're pinned down low, especially at Las Vegas early on.
It absolutely is because, I mean, let's face it, you've got 5 sets of tires to get you through the evening. And this race, every time we've come here, just about every series we've ever come here with, it has turned into a fuel mileage race before the end of it. As we got some good battling going on up towards the front. As Joe Stafford finally works his way around Nick Stein. Here comes Steven Cornez on Brandon Sheridan. Sheridan caught on the low side now. The good news is Sheridan does have help. Steven Cornez, not so much.
Now, that draft certainly comes into play here at this 1.5 mile oval. You have help in this next-gen car. You're going to be able to get some really good speeds down the front straightaway, down the back stretch. You can use that momentum to really sail that car into the corner. But if you're by yourself, forget about it. It's going to be tough to challenge to go up against 2 cars working together, especially when they have that draft hooked up.
It absolutely is going to be the case. And Matt, it's good to see that these guys are minding their P's and Q's in the early going. We could have had some bad situations, but everybody knows that we've got 267 laps to go, and we're not even 10 into it yet.
Yeah, we're only working lap 8, and already lap 8, we're starting to see some movers, comers, and goers, if you will. Another byproduct of this racetrack, what it's fancy for. But at the front, still Travis Kryborg, a.k.a. Cyborg, in that Toyota up there, the 21 carrying the torch around the racetrack.
Yeah, Kryborg did not have the run that he was hoping for last week after winning Daytona. He struggled at Auto Club, and you could hear the dejection in his voice when that all took place.
You certainly could. And Auto Club, for some reason, that's a track that can give drivers a hard time, myself included. There's not too many other tracks like that on the circuit. I don't really...
Sorry, I was just being sarcastic.
Tony, you had me there, brother.
Well, let's face it. You got Auto Club and Michigan. Those are the two sister tracks. And the only difference is one sees snow every year, the other one sees earthquakes every year.
I guess I kind of look at that a little bit differently. I understand that Penske kind of masterminded both those tracks, but I just feel the banking in Michigan gives you a lot more security than the wide turns that Auto Club without that banking to really help cement that race car into the asphalt. Just a track that, gives some drivers some hard times. And you're right, Travis Kryborg there, you can definitely hear it in his voice last week. But he seems to be right back on track now, picking right up where he left off in Daytona. He's got that 21 Camry flying right now. Continues to lead over Joe Stafford in that 57 ZL1 Camaro.
Well, we're watching the battle just inside the top 10 right now as Eaton's leading a pack of angry Hornets right now. As that is the 45, Leo Bonacasa, trying to make some more headway. Already +4, wants some more. Your two biggest movers right now are Charles Eaton in 75 at +9, as well as Eugenio Alonso in the 86, who's currently running in 8th, about a second and a half up the road from this battle.
Yeah, these guys are absolutely flying right now, wasting no time climbing up through the field. Rightfully so. That's where you see a lot of the hard charge and action out there on the racetrack. Right around that 86 machine, that Eugenio Alonso, and right off of his back bumper, there is a hornet's nest of brewing right now. These guys are fighting really hard for position as they continue to march their way toward inside the top 10. Again, what a great start from Eugene, up 9 spots, currently residing in 8th position.
Now, we do have to make a note right now that the 87 of Joe Cossey is being scored as the 88, only because that team had to go to the backup car tonight after having issues in the open practice 1. Oy!
Oh!
That could have gotten ugly. Because Charles Eaton in the 95 just leaned on each other. Throw was not given room, and Eaton, knowing that this is still a long race and there's still plenty of time to make up, almost in a 3-wide situation again, as the 2 of Dalton Mobley now sends it down low to 3 wide. 9 and 75 almost contact to keep it pointed straight, though.
Yeah, these guys just so good at being able to get themselves into some sticky situations here and driving their way out of it. But Tony, you mentioned that cross breeze ripping across the racetrack. These cars are already aero sensitive enough. Stack 3 on top of each other, plus that cross breeze pushing on the back of the race car. That was some great heads-up driving there. That could have been a lot worse than it currently was out there on the racetrack as we continue to be under green flag conditions right here at Las Vegas.
Good news is the air's calmed down about 2 miles an hour since we did qualifying. The bad news is it's now 7 degrees hotter on track.
Yeah, as you can see, those clouds are pretty much moved out of the racetrack, and you can see that asphalt just absorbing all the heat from the sun. That's going to really turn the slick spot up on the racetrack. right around that 90-degree mark, that's really when this track really seems to lose a lot of its grip out of nowhere. And if you're not anticipating it as a driver, that can catch you off guard. But you're absolutely right, Tony. That cloud cover is gone. We're barely approaching, 1:30 p.m. sim time here. So look for those temperatures to continue to climb before they start to go back down the other way.
Something else that's continuing to climb is the aggression level at the front of this piece. And if you're into numerology, you're going to have fun with it. Travis Cranborn +1 in first. Joe Stafford +2 in second. Brandon Sheridan +3 in third. That's your top three. Throw a blanket over them by about that far.
Also,
that's
your
about 6 car lengths.
It's also your evening pick 3 lottery numbers brought to you by Tony. Only 75% gratuity if you win.
I'm not even going to be that stingy
Whoa,
on it.
hello, hold on to it. The 86 just had a big moment right there, Tony. Looks like that right rear just gave up on him a little bit on the corner exit, and he went down the hill in a hurry. Had to chase that car, get it back under control. But that was a big moment there for the 86. That definitely probably got his attention.
Well, we're watching the replay of it right now, and you're going to see him twitch. There. That's that cross breeze. That cross breeze hit enough of that rear diffuser and rear spoiler that it almost sent that car around. That was heads-up driving for both he and Sean Rogers.
Yeah, throw another wild card in the mix. Today's race, you have that phantom cross breeze that you can't even see. That's just going to wreak havoc on you with,
what happened to Lauren Jones? I don't mean to interrupt, but Jones stopped on the backstretch. What took place with Cheeto's 11? You got the double deuce of Randy Spivey to his outside. Here comes the 62. Same thing. That cross breeze took all the air, caught the apron, trying to save it. Tires are now dirty. Locks it down, and light contact. It didn't look too major. So that's the good news.
Just a little bit, but like you said, tires are dirty. They're not worn out yet, but they're dirty. Tony, as a race car driver, what can you do with your line in this next-gen car to try to help combat that nasty cross breeze that's wreaking havoc right now on a lot of these competitors just at random and catching them off guard? What can you do as a race car driver to better equip yourself to handle that?
Run about a car width off the outside wall.
And that actually makes sense. And
that way,
the
wind's got nowhere to go. Because it's already trying to get up and over the wall to begin with. So now, your car's there. It's already up on an updraft. There's not much more that can happen. And also, if you run close to the wall, you can negate a little bit of the damage if you hit the wall at that point.
Yeah, if you're closer to it, you can't get as much that inertia built up before you make contact with it. You're absolutely right there, Tony. We continue here to watch these guys and girls do battle out here on the racetrack here tonight. Up front, still the same story. Travis Cranborn still carrying the torch out front. The 57 still residing in second. Nick Stein, that's your top three as they run right now. Tony, currently we're working lap 24. Limited on tires tonight. What runs out first, the tires or the fuel cells?
Well, it's going to have to be the tires if they're going to want any shot at a win here tonight. You cannot go using up your equipment. But, one of the guys that kind of has me a little worried right now is back here in 23rd. And that is the double-aught butt-shot Twin Peaks Mustang of Kavaja Holt. Currently plus 16. That's impressive this early going. 26 laps in, and he's gained a position every other lap on average.
Yeah, that's quite a statistic. The other side of that, how much has he used up in those Goodyear Eagles that are wrapped around those rims on that race car? Can only imagine he probably had to use a little bit of those Dr. Feelgood goods up. But outside of that, that is one heck of a drive in the early going. especially against these competitors in this field.
It is that. And one of your other biggest movers is right next to him. That's Aaron Mack going to his outside. Mack currently plus 12. And then in front of them in 18th, that's Dalton Mobley, who's currently sitting plus 11.
Yeah, and don't look now, but right behind him, up 21 spots, that's RJ Root cracking the top 20 already.
No, Root's only gained 2 because he had the pit start.
All right, we're gonna close that screen out for right now. Not a problem.
Sorry, bud.
I've had enough of that. Thank you.
We'll get you sorted out sooner or later. We'll try it again next week.
Yeah. Just for whatever reason, these and it's a good problem. These larger car counts, for whatever reason, my live timing and scoring just doesn't seem to like it. But we'll get that sorted. Let's get back to this freaking awesome racing out there on the racetrack right here in prime time Sunday night. We're currently working lap 29. Got some great side-by-side battles going on right now between that 86 machine and the 88. They've been dicing it up here the past couple laps. Because that's for the 10th position out there on the racetrack.
Yeah, Sean Rogers has gotten by both of them. It's costing trying to now reel in Rogers. Gino Alonso is backed off just a little bit. You know, he was in the double digits as positions gained for a while there. Then had that scare and kind of backed out of it. So, yeah, I'm going a little too hard. I can maybe run about 8 tenths right now, not 10 tenths. Yeah, behind him, Jeff Carson works the inside of JC Gibson. JC caught on that high line right now, and I don't think he wanted to be up there.
No, it's definitely not the vibe I'm getting from watching him currently, make laps around the racetrack right now. The bottom seems to be the comfort zone still as we're, 31 laps into this one. And those lower track temperatures make it possible for those cars to continue to run, that bottom lane. And you see, like the 9 there, Jeff Carson, hooking that white line all the way around the racetrack. If that track was about 20 degrees warmer, that'd be a lot taller of an order to ask to rip the bottom there lap after lap. But these lower temperatures really making it possible as we currently see the Hornet's Nest right here on the racetrack, right around that 12th place position, is you can throw a blanket over these guys. You got guys running down low in the middle, jostling for position. Throw the 45 in the mix as well. He's currently working the top side of the racetrack, and he's currently having a couple guys go up there with him.
Well, we're on board right now with the 27 of JC Gibson. You can see just how rock steady his hands are. And something I wasn't expecting to see, but I kind of was out of some of these guys. Nobody's downshifting right now. Nobody's trying to grab another gear to get a better run out of the corners. They're just kind of seeing what fifth gear will give them in this first segment. Now, the other thing to keep in mind, too, is we are stage racing tonight. Stages are going to be at the end of lap 80 and 165, respectively. We got caught off guard by that last week.
Yeah, we did. We kind of got caught with our cheeks out, if you will. But we're prepared for it tonight, Tony. And those stage points, ever so critical, especially as the season wears on. Points, oftentimes, it comes down to just a 1 or 2 points that make such a big difference when it comes playoff time. So you bet you these drivers, especially up here near the front, they have that on their minds, as that 21 continues to lead early on here in Las Vegas. All business up front for that 21 machine. That Camry is hooked up and planted into that racing surface.
He is 2 seconds in front of this battle we're watching right now with Stein in the 02 and Stafford in the 57. Now, Stafford doesn't have to win here tonight. He just needs to finish in front of RJ Root, and he should come out of here with the points lead. As right now, Stafford running in third, Root mired back in 38th right now. And he's a lap down already.
I can't believe what I'm hearing. The current points leader kind of got buried back there just for whatever reason, didn't decide to qualify. And he had to start deep in this one. He's only been able to make up a couple spots, and just like that, already finds himself 1 lap down as these guys are putting up a blistering pace here through 36 laps. But the good news is, Tony, he has a lot of time still. He still has plenty of time to make up some of this lost ground here early on. He just can't afford any mistakes. If he can stay mistake free, I think he still has a good enough shot. He's a great talent. He can get up there and compete. But a speeding penalty, getting caught in an accident out there on the racetrack, that could spell disaster for RJ.
It absolutely could. And the other thing to keep in mind too, he's currently the first car one or more laps down, as Dave Frug is going pit side for some reason. Don't see any damage on the 71, but he's coming down already for 4 in fuel, it looks like.
Yes, I'm also getting a report that the 6 of Emily Urias is also going to be coming down pit road, making her scheduled pit stop there out of her camp.
Okay, so 36 to 38 laps out of a tank of Go Fast from what we're seeing. Now the question is, if you're Travis Kranborg, do you pit and try to cut off that undercut, or do you just let it eat and just let it fall where it may?
I think if you're the 21 right now, you let it fall where it may. You have a nice little cushion. You have that buffer right now, that security blanket. And I understand what's going on here. Lap 39 in the league race I ran a couple nights ago, your tires felt like you're on ice out there. Forget about any type of rear bite in the race car. And I understand why some of these competitors are already coming down pit road. But tires are a premium tonight. If you're that 21, stay out there. Just let the laps ride. Play the race as, just play it as it lies right now, like you said, Tony. I wouldn't go, throwing, my monkey wrench into my strategy just yet, especially when you're out there leading with a sizable lead over second place.
And that's exactly what you've got to be mindful of. You really have to be mindful of how many sets of tires do I have left. Now, iRacing has done a little bit better job over the past couple of seasons since they've allowed leagues to start limiting tires. But, you still have to look at it from the standpoint of, do I want to pit this early and see what new tires are going to give me? Because the one thing iRacing still has yet to give us, in the real world of NASCAR, you can build a set off of takeoffs. You can't do that in iRacing.
That is a great point, Tony. And, I often forget about that, but you hit the nail right on the head with that one. Hopefully that's something iRacing will be able to incorporate here in the near future. As they've done a great job with their AI and the other algorithms that they've worked into the model. But right now, you're absolutely right. That's not an option as it stands.
And hopefully it will be. That'll be something that's getting ready to come up here, with any luck. But I cannot find my note sheet right now. Matt, can I have you... here we go. Your leader's in.
Well, that answers the question. Lap number 42. That's where Travis Kranborg wanted to come down pit road. I don't think he was out of fuel. I believe, again, just those Dr. Feelgoods going feel bads. And that 21 just looking for his pit box right now, wants to get that peace of mind, the security back under that race car. As he comes in, hits the box, going to stop inside. Want to make sure you don't roll outside that box and have to put that car in reverse. That's costly time out there on the racetrack. You see the jack going up, the crew going to work. They'll put 4 tires and fuel on that car. That jack will drop, and he'll be underway here momentarily as that 21's already rolling back towards the racetrack. That's how quick a pit stop goes by right here in the Sunday Night Cup Series.
Yeah, that wasn't too shabby of a stop either. And if I'm looking at this right, no, I'm not. Okay, I was looking at that wrong. I was going to say, did RJ Root already come down and get popped? No, that was the hold time that they gave him in the box. As here comes the next grouping of Cossey, Sheridan, Carson, and Stein.
And at least with this pit strategy, how you have him coming down in groups, if you will, that's going to allow, that's going to declutter pit road. That's going to allow these drivers to come in, get woed up, not going to have a lot of cars at close to vicinity. It's going to minimize mistakes and allow these guys to execute clean pit stops as they're currently currently under their first round of green flag pit stops as the 21.
Hey.
Whoa, did you see that, Tony?
Cossie almost missed. And that would have been disastrous if he had. He just got that thing mowed down in time. He hands the lead of the race over to Eugenio Alonso.
I don't know how he... That was incredible. That I thought for certain there was going to be contact there and somehow was able to avoid that, but that could have been deadly. Another near miss out here on the racetrack.
Boy! As that's the 57 of the 57 of Joe Stafford was getting into it with Alonso there. Coming through 3 and 4. They all stay out though. Now, Matt, if I can have you click on your iRacing and open up the info bar. How many sets are we working with tonight?
Well, according to iRacing, and I've seen this been off a couple times over the past couple weeks, it looks like we're working with 4 sets of tires.
Oh, that's scary then.
I almost don't believe that's the case, but if it's 4, that is extremely scary, as you're really going to have to really maximize these cars over the long run, because like I said, you know, lap 30, it feels like you're on ice skates. Lap 41, lap 42, where these guys were coming in, you're gritting this, they're gritting that steering wheel, they're gritting their teeth, holding on for dear life. That's going to make for a really long night. I wouldn't be surprised if the number was closer to 5, but as it says here right now, four sets of tires.
As we're watching your current race leader, the driver of the 15, that is Chattanooga, Tennessee's own Bennett Allen. Matt Gaskins is 3.5 seconds behind him. There's Gaskins from Parts Unknown. Interesting.
Yeah, the gas man there, Gaskins. Used to watch him compete in another series last season. Got some good talent in that race car, usually pretty good over the long run. But like you said, Tony, he's sitting about 3 seconds back from where he wants to be right now. So we're working lap 49 of 267 laps here. And don't forget, Tony, fast repairs, they're not there.
What's a fast repair?
Exactly. What's a fast repair? That's how it should be. You don't really get one of those in real life anyhow. But putting more emphasis on taking care of your race car. You bash this thing up early, that's going to be a long night in the pits if you get the cautions to try to work on it. So that's just more emphasis on saving your equipment, saving your car. Race the racetrack, not yourself. And no one out there is doing a better job of that right now. Again, that 21 continues to just put down solid lap times as he's working the bottom of the racetrack.
Spivey, one of the last ones to peel off to go pit side. As we're checking in with your effective race lead, he's not official yet because the 2 cars in front of him, Gaskins and Burt, both have yet to come down for their first pit stop. Sprainboard now works to the inside, gets that position made quite handily. So while we're just waiting for Gaskins.
Oh, the 14 gets loose. He gets caught in the flat, almost spins the car. That thing was pointed 45 degrees, pointing towards the wall, and somehow he gathered up that ZL1 Camaro. Another extremely close call here coming onto pit road. I have no idea how he saved that car, Tony.
Well, let's find out here, as we may have to back this up another lap. But Cornez on the fresher shoes, still kind of cold tires. Gets a good run down the Nellis back straightaway. Yep, we didn't get it.
Yeah, for some reason I saw it here on my end again, but it looked like he just, I don't know if he overshot, the corner on the flat, but that car was pointed straight, 45 degrees to the inside wall. Somehow he locked the tires up, was able to get it back straight. Great heads-up driving there by that 14 machine of Siva Cornez.
Let's see if we can find it here, but I'm not seeing it. We're going to have to take your word for it, as unfortunately it didn't come up as an incident on my notes on SDK. So check
Yeah,
it
he
back
didn't
in
hit
with
anything.
Seba. He's currently running in fourth, and that is, oh my goodness, that's an angry pack of Hornets in front of him. And all those guys are racing each other for position. It's Rich Jett, Brian Tarnowski, John Wilco, Chris Claude, all right there as well.
Yeah, as you like to say, Tony, you could take a blanket or pitch a tent right over those guys as they're doing battle out here on the racetrack.
They are at that. Claude's working on Bawaldo right now, trying to get another spot moving forward. Your biggest mover right now, after all that pitting, goes to that man in the 82. That is Alexander Gengler. Currently sits plus 31. Has yet to come down pit road, though.
Yeah, that's a stat plus 31. Obviously, that's going to change as he's still out there fighting the good fight on those old tires. That's quite a run there. But right now, Tony, check out this battle between Emily Urias, that 15 machine, and the 57. These guys and girls are in a dogfight right now. The 57 and the 6, they kind of just, the cars virtually slapped hands a little bit there coming out of the last corner. As they're still, look at the 57 just swerving, looking like Ernie Irvin out there back in the day, swerving Irvin, just trying to break that side draft that Emily had on that 57 machine. He's going to slide back up in front of her again. Now Emily's going to wiggle, and that's going to allow that trailing car there. Looks like it's going to be the 79 to come into the picture now, as Emily has to take that Mustang up the hill to save it.
Now the thing is, Emily's also not anywhere close to the lead lap right now. She had an incident earlier where she spent 3 minutes on pit road back on lap 35. So it looks like she did get into something. You can see a little bit of right side quarter panel damage on that Mustang. That right rear a little bit flatter than in the bodywork than she'd really like it at this point. And she's not really able to do much outside of the draft. As Cranborn does take the lead of the race back over officially. And while he does that, we're going to step away, pay a couple bills, and we'll be back right after this.
There's a new approach to lawn care, Preen One Lawn Care. Preen One does away with the hassle of multiple bags of different products. It has everything you need for a beautiful lawn in one bag. And all it takes is one application. For season-long weed control and feeding, apply the granules when the lawn is wet and weeds are actively growing. It blocks crabgrass all season. It prevents crabgrass seeds from growing. It kills the seedlings too, even when applied 4 weeks after they sprout. It's your best defense against tough weeds like dandelion, chickweed, henbit, and hundreds more. Plus, its slow-release formula feeds the lawn evenly for months to build stronger roots for maximum heat and drought resistance. Preen One delivers convenience and better performance in one package with one application. Spend more time enjoying your lawn and less time working on it. Preen One, and it's done. It's a lawn dream come true.
What's up, guys? Roger Debo, front tire changer for the 45 Alpha Prime car. You're watching Sim Racing Media.
And we are back in Sin City for the third round of the SNN Cup Series. So it's Paso Matt Metler up in the booth with you for this one. And Matt, I don't think we could have scripted a better race than we've seen so far.
I know, it's like we stole it right out of the Disney storybook itself. Is this one has just been, caution out on the racetrack just as we're coming back to the live.
Austin Story's around on the backstretch. What caused that?
That is the question of the moment. Is currently our first caution flag currently underway right here in Las Vegas. Tony's going to go ahead and do some investigative work here to see if we can find out exactly what happened.
We can see the 23 of Story on the low side just, it runs it up the track. Incidental contact. Everybody else doing a great job to avoid getting into him. Let's watch this again from the iRacing blimp. As you see the 51 working his outside right now. That's John Bawalda. And Bawalda, now Story pinches up. Bawalda doesn't give him room. And Bawalda gets pancaked. Story goes around, and everybody else taking evasive action. As I don't think we're going to see too many takers bringing him downside for tires.
Now, I agree with you, Tony, especially with the limited quantities that these drivers have remaining in their pits. And how about that evasive action by all those drivers that woulda, coulda, should have been involved there? Just great heads-up situational awareness on full display here once again.
Very much so. As
we're going to slow things back down to a crawling pace speed. Big difference from being out there at pace speed, going 190, 192 miles an hour when you get behind that iRacing.com pace car rolling 55. Feels like snail pace out there.
It absolutely will feel that slow. And, it picture it like you're coming home on the highway, and as soon as you hit your town city limits or in school zone of 15 miles an hour, just from 55 to 15, it'll feel like you can get out and push the car faster. Now, make that speed on the highway 5 times as much. Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, that's one of the nice things about living in the state of Florida. There's some, I'm not that I'm promoting driving recklessly or above the speed limit, but there are some certain areas out here where you can really boogie, and that's, you know, the common consensus. And when you come off of those routes, and then you come right into town going 30, you swear you're moving backwards, Tony.
Been there, done that. But a guy who's not moving backwards right now is the driver of that 73. That, of course, is Tanner Marty. Currently sits plus 18.
Yeah, he's feeling pretty good about himself right now, huh? Up 18 spots from where he started. Things are looking up.
Currently holding down 12th.
Just basically knocking on the back door of the top 10. I mean, how much more could you ask for 71 laps in?
Not a whole heck of a lot, I don't think. As lights are still on that pace car. Cranborg, Stafford, Cossey, Sheridan, Cornez, Carson, Sanair, Breidenbach, Rogers, and Bonacasa, your top 10 as we currently sit, as we're getting ready to go lights out on that pace car one more time. And the two guys you kind of got a feel for right now are Joe Stafford and Joe Cossey. The only two non-Toyotas in your top 6.
That's a huge statistic. Think about what you just said right there, Tony.
I try not to. That usually gets me in trouble.
Well said. You know, we kind of seen this in the NASCAR race today, too, at times. Just certain manufacturers seem to have this 1.5 mile package figured out better than some of the others.
Well, we've seen it throughout the years. You know, certain manufacturers have a little bit better of a time at certain layouts of tracks. The only issue is this is supposed to be a balance of power series where there's not supposed to be a monster difference in the way the car feels horsepower wise. It's supposed to come down to, you know, driver setup and driver skill.
Well,
the Toyota camp this season so far in the previous 2 races, they've looked very strong.
Yeah, and if you think about it, that's the 4-door family sedan going out there against, you know, America's best 2-door coupe performance cars. And you're right, those Camrys looking really good early on.
As the pace car is into the green restart zone we go. Cranborg jumps on the loud pedal, and Stafford goes with him. Stafford now has to deal with Cossey to his inside. Not what either one of those Chevys were hoping for, as Stafford can now drop down as they're going to hang the 74 out to dry of Sheridan. Sheridan, though, gets the run off a 2 down the back straightaway with a good head of steam, and it's Stafford hung out to dry.
Yeah, and just like that, Stafford's the red-headed stepchild getting hung out, like you said, to dry, getting the business from the other competitors out there on the racetrack. As we are back to full tilt, these guys are flying, wasting no time, dicing it back up as we're already just look at the field just pulsing as they go around the racetrack, trying to find just any bit of clean air they possibly can here. As you already got some of these guys going all the way up top shelf where Mama hides the cookies.
3 wide going into turn number 3. That's the 44 of Rogers going up through the middle. No help, though, as he now drops to the low side to Stephen Cornez caught on the high side. And around. Oh!
Yellow flag is out.
Nobody wanted to see that, especially right at the start-finish line, as mayhem just uncorks. Multiple cars look to be involved here. Caution's going to come out back once again here in Las Vegas.
As you can see, that's Rogers in the 44, trying to go up through the middle. The 24, Breidenbach, almost gets into it, gets all the air taken off his spoiler. He's going to have to back out of it. 73 nerfs the 24 as he gets to the back of the 14, and boom goes the dynamite, as now Rogers and Breidenbach both with damaged race cars.
Yeah, and I think Nerf is putting it lightly there, Tony. I mean, that was definitely some solid contact there. And as you said, you know, boom goes the dynamite. Once that fuse was lit, there was no escaping it. As mayhem breaks out right there at the flag stand.
Oy. Great heads-up job by everybody behind him to not get into those two guys.
Yeah, the avoidance by some of these drivers here tonight has been next level. I know I certainly couldn't have pulled myself out of some of these woulda, coulda, shouldas. But that just shows you the talent that's on display here tonight. So we're currently back under caution. We always say cautions breed cautions. This is going to certainly help the tire side of things. You know, going around here at pace speed, you know, that's going to give a little more life in those Goodyear Eagles.
Now,
But
these
certainly
guys are just a few laps short of where they were expecting to come down for the second pit stop. So,
right, but the other side of that, Tony, is the shorter you go, the longer you're going to have to run on the backside.
yeah, but I think everybody learned something from that first long green flag run. As Dalton Mobley risking it for the biscuit, fuel only for the deuce.
Now you got me thinking about biscuits and gravy, Tony.
You're welcome. See, that's the thing you're going to learn. If you work around Frank, Dave, Greg, and myself enough, you're probably going to have to watch out for diabetes.
And chicken cock whiskey. You know I had to throw that in there.
Yeah. So speaking of Mr. Rogers, let's check in with our buddy in the Wawa Camry. Wawa and Tasty Cakes, two great tastes that go great together. And while you're at Wawa, go and make sure you get one of their orange cream slushies. As not exactly the run Dave was hoping for, but still
Not yet.
Still plenty of racing left, and he's still in the top. Oh no, he just dropped out of the top 20 with that pit stop.
Yeah, he's really not in race mode until he finishes a second pack of Tasty Cakes. And as we're working lap 78, he still probably has one and a half left. So look for him to go to the business side of things after he gets that second helping of Tasty Cakes in his system.
Fair enough. That's a fair enough assessment. Good news is, if you are a Mission 22 fan, for those of you who don't know what Mission 22 is, every day in this country, on average, we unfortunately lose 22 of America's veterans to self-harm. Mission 22 helps highlight that, and it tries to get help for the men and women of our armed services who are now no longer active members of the armed services to try to get the help that they need. You can support mission22.org for more information.
Yeah, and serving in the Marine Corps myself, that is a troubling statistic. Certainly doesn't get enough attention, Tony, and that's such a great cause. Is 22, that is way too much on any given day of the week.
2 is too many.
2, exactly. 1 is too many.
Exactly. You know, we train these men and women to go defend and to take lives if necessary in that defense. Bring them back into the civilian life and don't give them the training that they need to assimilate back into the civilian world in most cases.
Yeah, and I can contest to that. You know, when you cycle in, you know, to the military world, I mean, it takes a lot of time before you're considered a fleet, you know, or in my case, a fleet Marine. But when I cycled out, literally, it was a couple classes over the course, I think, of 90 days, and that was it. And that certainly wasn't enough time. And I know everyone's different, but, big shout out to those guys and what they do to help our service members. Is like you said, Tony, sometimes, they just need a reboot. You get back out of that mode and come back in a civilian world, and can't thank those guys for everything they do to help our veterans out.
Absolutely. It's Dalton Mobley helping himself out there, trying to get to the front of this piece. Craneborg and company were lined up on the outside in Toyotas. It was an all Chevy inside row and an all Toyota outside row. And not so much anymore. So now everybody's dancing with whoever they can find.
Yeah, everyone's finding a dancing partner there in real time. Who's going to help you? Who's going to make you go to the front? That's all anyone really cares about right now. This track position is once again proving to be critical here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, which often is the case here at this racetrack. Look at the 00 in the 86, a little bit further back in the field, right around that 20th position. There is a hornet's nest of brewing back here deep in the field. These guys understanding the urgency here, as we're already lap 82 in the books. They're going to have to start moving forward, and you can see these guys just fighting really hard here for every inch on the racetrack.
Alonso popped for speeding on under that last pit stop cycle. The previous pit stop cycle on lap 47. So he just got on the lead lap of the waiver round this time.
Yeah, disaster avoided. Is that pit road entrance? I've seen a couple of these guys coming down there, locking their tires up. And Tony, as you know, it only takes speeding in one of those scoring segments, and game over. The rule's the rule, and you're going to find yourself going to the back in a hurry. You just hope that you have enough time to recover before the laps run out.
Another name and another good cause we haven't spoken much of tonight. That is the Trish's Hope Chevy of Brian Tarnowski. And Trish's Hope is an organization that gets counseling for not only those that are suffering from all forms of cancers, but their family members and loved ones as well. Because that can sometimes even be a harder thing to deal with than the person actually going through the medical issue themselves, are the people around them not knowing how to get support for themselves. Because as someone who has gone through this, when you've got a family member that is terminal, it takes all of your time and energy to devote to them, and you forget sometimes that you've got to take an hour for you, maybe once a week or twice a week, and get your own battery reset. And Trish's Hope really helps with that.
Yeah, and in the moment, as selfish as that may seem, that is really critical just for your own personal health and well-being. It's great that you want to be there and help the loved ones around you, but you got to always make sure you put yourself first at times. And Tony, I couldn't agree with you more.
I try. It's not all fun and games up here in the Sim Racing Media booth. As we are checking back in with the 15 of Bennett Allen, he's got Jeff Carson glued to his back bumper right now. Tanner Marty, again, one of your biggest movers, currently sitting plus 22. Speaking of on the plus side in big movers, your biggest mover right now, that belongs to that 6'9", running his teammate's backup car tonight. That is RJ Root, being scored as the 8.
Yeah, that rooter, man, RJ, he is going places in that ZL1 Camaro. 26 spots. That is one heck of a drive from the start of this green flag, as he's pretty much put himself right back in contention. If he can keep up that pace moving through the field, by the time we're in the late stages, he'll be right there where we expect him to be, up there contending for a win. Another guy that's up 26 positions, how about that deuce, Dalton Mobley? He's up 26 as well.
He's at that, as there is Mobley trying to keep tabs on the two guys in front of him. Pride of Cooper, Texas. Currently 2.5 seconds to the good over the guy who's currently leading your points at this very second. Came in tied with RJ Root. That's Joe Stafford, qualified fourth, runs in fourth, as the 88 of Cossey right behind him.
Yeah, Cossey in that 88 machine, like you were saying, up 7 spots, currently inside the top 5, occupying that 5th position. Just another day in the office is right around that 5th spot there. They're single file, but just off the back of that 15. That's where that Hornet's Nest really starts to get a buzzing. As you see him just fanning out there, two wide there. Ooh, that got close there, right around that Lucas Oil Chevrolet there. That 59 machine, that got close.
It did at that, as Leo Bonacasa was not given a lot of room to Chad Sanner. And that's going to let the 19 of Alex Princeton.
Uh-oh, I'm smelling 3 wide here.
Don't let where Princeton's running fool you. He's not just +1. Princeton pit started.
Yeah, so
he
that's...
He started deep in this thing.
Yeah, that's the entire field, them pretty much going by, getting up to speed when you can finally leave your pit stall. That is definitely a tall objective to overcome, and he's doing a magnificent job out there here tonight. Tony, I can't believe we're already working lap 93 in this one with the cautions included. It's great racing here once again, side by side. Right around that 88 machine of Joseph Causey. Look how tight it is. That 15, the 45, the 73 Tanner, Alex Princeton. These guys are all battling hard for position here, duking it out. Oh, that got close.
That was a sketchy moment coming into the dog leg for sure.
You can only do that so many times before you're going to make contact. And as that intensity keeps going up.
I mean, hey, man. We're in Vegas. Spin that wheel, cut that pack, and throw them a load of dice. Go for it.
Hey, full send. That's right, Tony.
Bring on the dancing girls. We got the champagne on ice, brother.
And Dave's got the whipped cream in the car.
I'm sorry, I just threw up a little bit in my mouth. What did you just say?
Just talking about what he's got in his car with his tasty cakes. Getting back here to the racing action, that 88, that 15, they're still all over each other as they just can't decide who they want to run in that 5th position as they're currently duking it out hard. The 88 currently has it, the 45 wants it. And just on back of the 45, that 19 is, that 15 is putting all kinds of pressure welded to the back bumper of that ZL1 Camaro. Looking like the old school intimidator out there, trying to get him to drive out the rear view mirror, make a mistake, slip up the racetrack a little bit. There you go, the 15 turns down the track. Just can't seem to get the bike to get the run, but he's going to get one heck of a draft coming down the backstretch.
Well, right behind him, they're flirting with disaster as the 73 of Marty and the 19 of Princeton almost got into each other the last couple of times by. Here comes the 59 of Sanner and the 9 of Carson as well to throw their hats into the mix. As 2 Chevys, 2 Toyotas just bombing it at each other right now. And nobody wanting to really give an inch yet.
No, give and take really not in play here right now, at least right here around that 11th place position. Oh, did you see that hip check?
I did not. Where were you looking?
Just off the back there of the of that Lucas, that 59 machine, probably about 2 rows back. They got tight up against the wall, and someone had to take evasive action.
That would have been Root and Samuelson going after each other. I don't see any damage on the right side of either of those cars.
Oh, they didn't touch, but it was paper thin, Tony.
Well, let's go back and take a look, shall we?
Let's. I love a good replay.
There you see Root on the top side. We may have to back this up a little more. The 81 of Samuelson gets a little bit better run off of 2.
Yellow flag is out.
Uh-oh. Well, let's keep watching what happened to Austin's story.
Tony, not to cut you off, Bingo, there it is.
There it is indeed. We're going to go back and take a look at that one as Bawalda now pointing the wrong way out of one-way street. Let's take a look at this one again. This is from the eye in the sky.
Gotta love that blimp cam.
I'd be lost without it most days. Story gets the run on the outside as Bawalda caught the apron through the tri-oval and lost the front end. Story guessed wrong, and they both eat the turn one wall as...
Yeah, unfortunately, they took the turn one wall, the breakfast, lunch, and dinner there.
And, oh my goodness.
Spindle. Yeah, that 23 is really hurting. That spindle is broke and locked. That tire is not rotating. And that's going to be a lengthy pit stop to get that car at least rotating on all four tires. Oh, as he has a hard time getting it wound up there, Tony.
Oh, hold on, because I'm still trying to sort this out of what happened to Bawalda. So there's the initial hit. Now he's going to come down track again. And this is going to hurt.
Yeah, that'll certainly knock the wind out of you.
Let's back that up, see who that was. That's not what I wanted to do. Sorry, folks. '79 just barely misses them. '60. And as soon as I can find that car. Steve Giberson. Let's take a look at what did happen here, as we are now going to go on board with Giberson.
Again, big shout out to Tony. All these great cameras, angles, and replays by your managing producer here tonight.
Pace car's out. Giberson's kind of putting and didn't see it. It was the glare coming off the sun as it started to set behind those billboards, and he could not see Bawalda.
Tony, I wouldn't even have thought of that if you didn't go on board. But, I mean, literally, these guys cannot see at that part of the racetrack. That is treacherous. As that sun is just blinding you, you lose all situational awareness right there, just about.
You are correct, as you know, that was shades of an incident we saw in the Indy cars a handful of years back.
You almost have to just keep your foot in it, and hopefully after, you come out the other side, and once your vision's restored, that everything's similar to what it was before you lost it.
Well, he did the right thing. He was off the throttle. That's the good news. The bad news is he wasn't low enough on the track.
And I'm not sure he can anticipate it of having to be that low on the racetrack either. But nonetheless, we found ourselves once again under caution here in Sin City, Las Vegas Motor Speedway. 1.5 miles the distance around this racetrack. Tony, it has been a barn burner thus far. The story of the race, that 21 getting back on track, looking like we did at Daytona. Fontana threw him off a little bit, Auto Club, but Freiburg's, a.k.a. Cyborg, back to Cyborg type things up there in P1. The 74 of Brandon Sheridan having a great run. And look who's in third. Am I seeing that correct, Tony? Is that RJ Root in third?
That is RJ Root in third with Joe Stafford in fourth. And, we talk about, the Daytona run, the Auto Club run, they were completely different. Now we've gone to the first mile and a half. We're going to see our first 1 miler next week. as that is going to be the 500 miler at Phoenix with the open dog leg. So, you know, the past couple of seasons of different leagues that I've broadcast, the guy who has the best shot at winning the championship has been the guy that's won Phoenix.
You know, that makes perfect sense, though, Tony, as well. And the open dog leg, that's another wild card there you have to be careful of. As I don't know how many times I've seen that open dog leg just come up and play a whack-a-mole spoiler and taking out some great competition is just forgetting about. You have to come back up onto the racetrack, and sometimes there's a car, right where you anticipate, bringing your race car back on the racetrack, and that can be catastrophic. So we're back under green flag action here once again.
Sheridan flirting with the wall, coming down the back chute. As I'm sure that was a pucker moment for Joe Stafford, as RJ Root going to have to slot back into third, as here comes Cossey on the top shelf in the 78 being scored as the 88.
Yeah, the 78's being scored as the 78 being scored as the 88 tonight due to a car change. Thank you for that update there, Tony. Picking up right back where we left off already, Travis Crayborg has a sizable lead already over the position number 2 in that 57 machine. Kind of almost looked like he caught those guys on the snooze button on the restart. That 21 just so good at hooking those Goodyear Eagles into the asphalt, getting a great launch. And that Camry has checked out almost a little too far out in front. That draft second, third, and fourth, these guys can line up here. Should be able to run that 21 back down just a little bit as he continues to work the bottom of that racetrack lap after lap. The handling in that race car has just been flawless through 106 laps.
Well, the guy whose handling is not flawless right now is the 8 of RJ Root. He's already down to 10th after restarting inside of row 2. He did not get the restart he was hoping for by any stretch of the imagination. And now Charles Eaton works to his inside. Root just barely holding on to 11th. It's starting to battle back, but no help. Well, just as I say that, Kavasha Holt, the double zero, is starting to get up there.
Yeah, I'm going to guess that RJ Root missed a shift or potentially spun the tires on the start of that race and kind of checked everyone else up behind him. And RJ Root in that 69, he is in the middle of the trenches right now as he has looks like furious bees out there on the racetrack, just battling right off the back bumper of that race car. That's the Hornets net. You can pitch a tent right over those competitors out there on the racetrack as they are inches from each other at speeds well over 180 miles an hour. Doesn't take much. A little shift here, a little flex there, and these guys are making contact, and things happen quick, fast, and in a hurry here at Las Vegas as we're still 2x2 right off the back bumper. Oh, the double zero thinks about going 3 wide there in that Mustang.
He immediately thought better of it.
Yeah, he decided not to pull the trigger, and then he thought about it there again.
Now he is going to go for it.
Sometimes you just got to thread the needle. If you have that kind of momentum there, hopefully the Red Seas part, and you come out okay on the other side, as it went well in that favor. But you're right, Tony. He thought about it, decided not to, and then decided, hey, you know what? Full send. I got to make something happen here. It's on the restart. Pokes his nose there 3 wide, but you got to be careful, especially when you're coming off those corners as everything kind of funnels up towards the wall.
As we're checking in with Jeff Carson in the 9, as he's working the inside of Leo Bonacasa right now. Those guys were 3 wide not even a lap ago. So here comes Chad Sander on the top shelf in the Lucas Oil Chevy. And that is Bennett Allen caught on the low side now as you were watching 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. Meanwhile, in front of them, Stafford and Cossey going after each other. Stafford with a little bit of help, though, as that's going to let him wrestle third back away as Mobley bails out.
Mobley just decided, I don't want any of that right now, and just lifts and gets out of there.
This top grouping right now has already carved out 2 seconds to the good over that peloton being led by Alex Princeton right now. As, well, Princeton kind of on an island by himself as he's got about 6 car lengths to the good over Jeff Carson, who's watching this battle behind him going, go ahead, guys, run too wide. I'll just pull away.
Yeah, he's kind of in the eye of the storm right now, if you will. Chaos going on, battles all around him. But right where he is, that's the calm spot on the racetrack. And, these guys up front, as they continue to run single file here, I anticipate them to continue to gap the field as they're battling, too wide back there. These guys are formed up, looking very super Speedway-like. I know just as I say that, the Exalted car there is going to kind of go ahead and shuffle things up just a little bit. But as long as these guys continue to run single file up front, they should indeed gap themselves over the rest of the top 10.
They are at that. Speaking of the rest of the guys in the top 10, we're kind of checking into that now. They're just outside the top 10 as the 02 of Nick Stein leading this little secondary peloton, if you will. Stein, Samuelson, Eaton, Holt, Ron, and Tarnowski all right there.
Yeah, they are all right there, nose to tail. That big wiggle there out of the 24 machine as he was trying to come down and run near the line of that 9 machine, and he picked up a huge wiggle. That was almost disastrous, able to catch it back up. But that 9 right now is just under duress from that 24 machine. And that's pretty much the battles all over the racetrack, Tony, especially in this cluster right here, or peloton as you like to call it. I mean, battles all over. I mean, game of inches. Hard to think that, at 180, 90 miles an hour, you're talking about inches out there on the racetrack. Oh, well, look at that squeeze job there as he threads the needle. That was masterful. Trying to put a name on the car there. Definitely it was top side of the racetrack, that Toyota Camry. He just picked a hole, and it was open when he got there, and he took the spot. Tight racing going back here mid-pack or so. I'm sorry, right around 8th place or so. This is where all the action is out there on the racetrack, utilizing every single inch of the speedway.
You might want to double check your trading paints again, bud. Just saying.
Control R.
The big bat. No, remember how I told you to do it last time?
Oh yeah, we'll dump it.
But right now we're watching Kavaja Holt and Charles Eaton go after each other. They got Nicholas Breidenbach up there as well. Now Breidenbach is not on the same lap as these guys, as the 60 backslides more. That's not what he was hoping for at all. It's Giberson with a heavy damage. Spent the last 10 minutes on pit road as we're watching Kavaja Holt in that Twin Creeks Brewery, almost getting into Breidenbach there.
That was close.
It was very close. They keep it pointed in the right direction now. As I did want to pull that up. Track temperatures, if we're currently looking at it under partly cloudy skies, it's now cloudy out. It may not look it, but hey, it's the desert. Still 69-degree ambient air temperature. Track temperature has dropped 6 degrees from when we took the green initially, as we're flirting with about 2 o'clock in sim time.
Yeah, very low.
Go ahead.
Very low track temp. You would think, peak heating of the day in Las Vegas, that track sitting at a very calm 82 degrees. You're starting to see why these guys are just able to keep up this pace and run the bottom of the racetrack. A lot of that has to do with that track temp just being just a tick north of 80 degrees Fahrenheit.
As we're checking in with Dave Regal in the 8. Working the inside of Rich Jett right now. That's your battle for 22nd, 23rd. As they don't have a lot they can do in front of them.
You can see how these guys are starting to get tight. As they're getting aero tight. These cars, just all that dirty air, in this cluster of cars right here as they're battling out there on the racetrack. And you can see how they just come at the center, as they're coming off the corner there, just getting really tight there as they're having to catch the race car walking up the racetrack there. That was a pretty good save there by the 8 of Dave Regal. He probably doesn't want to do that again as he wiggles again coming off the corner.
Did it that as he's trying to catch his teammate Bob Nestor, Nestor is actually trying to hold up the 73 right now for Regal. It's Tanner Marty in between those two teammates. But I know Bob, I've known him long enough, he's not going to hold anybody up badly.
And oftentimes you do that lap after lap, Tony. We know it can result the chrome horn. Before you know it, you're going to be facing the wrong direction here.
Fourth.
You know.
Battle for fourth starting to get hot and heavy with the 74 of Sheridan going after Dalton Mobley. Mobley was caught on the high side. Sheridan was able to pick him off. As now they're both trying to reel in the 88 of Joe Cossey now.
Yeah, that 88 Joe Cossey currently has a little bit of breathing room out there on the racetrack as he's running just off the back bumper of that 57 machine, which is currently being piloted by Joe Salford. He's currently been up inside the top 4, top 5 pretty much the entire run thus far throughout the course of this one. So is that 88. He's been a force to be to contend with inside the top 5, top 10 as well, as we continue to remain single file here up towards the front. You can see these guys up here just kind of dialing it back a little bit, just riding right now, logging laps, saving their equipment for where it counts. You beat it up too soon, you're not going to have anything at the end. And I think that's why you're just seeing a little bit of courtesy spacing here at the, out here on the racetrack as they continue to run single file, content with where they are, at least for right now.
Well, we're not quite to the halfway mark yet. The good news is we should be getting the next round of green flag pit stops just past the halfway marker.
Yes, we're working lap 124, Tony. Sorry to cut you off there. All right, now 125 in the distance. Tonight's 267, so we're not there yet, but we're approaching it.
Lap 127? No. 128 going into 129.
When the halves come into play.
Hey, we can throw halves and decimals in there all you want. As long as they stop putting the letters in there, I'll be okay.
I could not agree more. And Tony, in your time in NASCAR, I'm sure you've been faced with that situation before.
What, trying to figure out fuel mileage?
Exactly. Burning up the calculator.
Yeah, we had a team owner's father try to do it for us once, and he was having us commit. We got to pit every 10 laps. Are you high?
Every 10 laps.
Well, that's what the fuel mileage came out to in practice.
Yeah, there is something wrong with your race car. Yeah, if you're only getting 10 laps to a tank of fuel, there is something really wrong with that power plant underneath the hood of that race car.
No, you're running cheater fuel at that point. You're running basically what they run across the street from turns 3 and 4 at the strip at Las Vegas. Nitromethane.
I was going to guess methanol. I was close.
You get a quarter mile for every 10 gallons of fuel you burn.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, going off topic a little bit, but that fuel burns extremely cold, though, right? That's one of the major benefits?
Well, it does and it doesn't. It burns vastly different than gasoline does. Which is why most of those top fuel teams are going to run dual spark ignitions, where there's 2 spark plugs in every hole to make sure that they can get that thing to light off. And diesel or nitromethane reacts more like a diesel than an actual normal fuel, like a racing alcohol or even a racing gasoline. You really have to get that stuff to explode, which is why those cylinder head pressures are so high on those damn things. They're running probably 200 to 300 pounds of chamber pressure. Compare that with maybe 100 in your street car.
And on top of that, then you're also going to have forced induction as well, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Tony, that's what I love about working with you, man. Always learn something every time up in the booth.
Well, here's the thing is, if you go all the way back to when Talladega and Daytona first opened, it took them probably 7 years before they were actually flirting in race trim with the 200-mile-an-hour barrier. However, right as Talladega First Open, Leroy Yarborough borrowed a Top Fuel dragster motor from a buddy of his, bolted into the frame rails as we're watching Marty and Emily Urias go after each other. But it took a Top Fuel engine. It went 202 around Talladega.
Which was just unheard of at the time. And
Yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong, Tony, but when Talladega first saw its first competition, none of the drivers wanted to actually compete on the track, correct?
No, because the tires weren't even lasting 5 laps.
Right,
Firestone and Goodyear showed up with wrong compounds for that.
And as a result, there was a very odd-looking field. I believe there was some funds that were thrown at the drivers if they did compete in that race as well. But just goes to show you how the technology and everything has changed over the years.
Well, what they did was they were throwing money at ARCA teams, or what would equate to today's ARCA program. They were throwing money at the teams, telling them they would get free tires if they just took the green flag in the Cup race.
Yeah, that's how bad NASCAR wanted their crown jewel, to have competitors out there on the racetrack. I remember watching a documentary on that, and my jaw was, hung open a couple different times throughout the course of that hour and a half. But it was a great learning experience. Currently getting back to the racing side of things here, though, in Las Vegas.
Battle for 11th hot and heavy is Stafford and Carson going after each other.
These guys are no strangers to going full send, not technically beating and banging, but going toe-to-toe. We've seen that at Daytona. We've seen that last week at Fontana Auto Club, and now getting another dose of it here in Las Vegas.
Stafford on the fresh tires of the two, as he's just coming out of pit road just now. Cranborg and Stafford have both got their next stop out of the way. So Mobley, Tarnowski, Allen, Wilco, Bonacasa, Marty, Spivey, your top 7 all have yet to come pit side for the next round of green flag pit stops, as we're just past the halfway marker.
Oftentimes we see these guys that continue to stay out.
Somebody locked it down. Let's go back and take a look at that one. Who was on the binders hard there?
Yeah, I seen that big plume of tire smoke there just out the corner of my eye.
73.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to do that, especially when you're trying to maximize, your tires here. As those sets are starting to dwindle away in these pits, locking them up like that, that's certainly going to flat spot them there at a minimum.
Absolutely. And then, the 2 of Mobley almost gets caught up in that one.
In the 76, he is every bit but straight coming off of pit road as he was trying to exit hard. I thought he lost it 2 or 3 times there, but he was able to gather it up as that car was sideways coming up the exit cone as he gets that thing back up to speed. Never seen someone come off a pit road quite like that and make it work, but that was very entertaining to watch as he jumps up right in front of that M&M's Camry there, moving to the top side of the racetrack. But that was a very aggressive pit road exit, and that's what you have to do when you're racing these competitors. Every tenth of a second counts. You can't leave it on the line, even coming up to speed after a pit stop, as that was very evident there. As the 73 of Tanner Marty was doing everything he could to pick up speed coming off of pit road.
Well, he knew he screwed up on pit entry. He needed to make it up on pit exit. For all intents and purposes, he made it up as best he could. But right now, Bennett Allen in the 15, your current race leader, as Nick Stein just got his lap back the hard way, leaves us with 13 currently running on the lead lap. And a handful of drivers still have yet to come down for this next round of pit stops. Your top 3 of Bennett Allen, John Wilco, and Leo Bonacasa. Cranborg in 4th has come down, as he's 4 1/4 seconds to the good over the man who's currently leading the point standings. That's Joe Stafford.
Yeah, Joe Stafford currently leading the points now, coming in to this race. RJ Root, I believe, was the current points leader.
They were tied.
They were tied. Thank you, Tony. RJ still has time, though, to make his way up through this field. He's currently showing back now in 23rd. Halfway through the field, but he still has some more work to do if he wants to get up here and battle with these guys and come out the other side of Las Vegas with the points lead or tied for the points lead. But look how tight the racing is again, right around the 73 machine. It seems like once he came off of pit road, he just kind of found himself right here in the thick of things. Now he's finally going to get some breathing room there, working the top side of the racetrack. Going to let the 0-2 there go on by, as he had enough of that because it was fierce for the first 3 or 4 laps.
Well, he picked up all that debris on the apron, trying to hustle it as fast as he could. I think he put too much heat in the tires right off the get. As right now in front of him, that's Stein and Carson going after each other for position in 10th. Stein just wrestles it away without much of an issue, as Wilco has finally come pit side.
Yes, Stein just said, thank you, I'm taking that. And that 0-2 machine, making it look a little easy out there. So he's got that camera pointing in the right direction, climbing back up through the field. Currently inside the top 10. He's working that 8th position right now. Dropped a couple spots back from where he started, but hey, still solid day as those 3 Toyotas there, the 0-2, the 9, and the 81. Those guys have been fighting hard since the drop of the green flag. Shout out to Ryan Samuelson, up 17 spots. And how about the couple guys right in order there in 11th, up 18, Dalton Mobley, 12th position currently right now, Chris Claude. He's up 9 spots as well. And in 14th, up 27 positions from where he started. That's going to be Ken Ron. So you got a lot of big movers right there doing battle on the racetrack.
We do with that is Ron in the Nitro 33, kind of shades of Intimidator paint on that Camaro. Checking back up here with Dalton Mobley as he's working on the 11. Now, the 11 is a lap car, so keep that in mind. That is not for position.
Yeah, that's going to be the Cheetos machine there. Jones, I believe he had some trouble early on in this one.
He did.
Potentially the first caution flag, and he just hasn't been able to rebound. Still a great-looking paint scheme on that Ford Mustang, though.
Hey, I love me some Cheetos every once in a while.
Right
Healthier
in
than
back,
a potato chip.
That's for certain. You never go wrong with cheese. Cheese and Cheetos.
Well, no, hold your horses there. Depends on what type of cheese and where you're using it. Oh.
Did you see that?
No, I didn't. Where am I looking?
Right in front of the Cheetos car. That 11 there had a front row seat. Looked like Dalton Mobley and the 57 of Stafford. They just door checked each other there, kind of going for the same piece of real estate. They bounced off each other, able to keep it rolling. But that was a huge moment there.
Well, let's go back and take a look at that from a couple laps ago then. There you see Mobley on the top side. The 11 down low. Not seeing anything.
I promise you it happened.
Okay.
There's a couple marks on those race cars as a badge of honor from that contact.
Okay then. Stafford was not one of them, let's put it that way.
I was speculating on Stafford.
No, he is further up the road than that would have been.
But the 2 definitely was a part of it.
Not seeing it at all.
just in front of that 11 machine, that
Yeah.
Cheetos car out there on the racetrack.
Oh, yeah, no, we've been following him for the last couple of laps, so, well, that's the case. We're going to get back to live action and check in with Charles Eaton as he is working on Kavaja Holt right now, as Holt is giving Jeff Carson all he can handle.
Yeah, Jeff Carson in the 9, working the top side of the racetrack. Look how tight the battle is here. Oh, the 24 is going to get loose there, come down all the way to that white line. The 75 is going to come down to try and block the run. Get a little piece of the draft there off the 69 machine. This all goes on right around that 10th place position.
Are you live?
You got the... I hope so. Working lap 150.
Okay.
And that's what I'm seeing right now in my monitor. Screen 1.
All right, then. It's right now, and Breidenbach, who is a lap car to all those around him right now, trying to get a lap back the hard way is... Okay, that's what's screwing me up. We've got 2 8s.
Well, I don't even know if I want to mention it, but the 9 just got in the wall there. Jeff Carson caught the wall there.
I did see that. Let's go back and take a look at Carson getting into the wall. And he didn't just touch it, he clobbered it too.
Yeah, he got a piece of it.
Back end starting to walk, chases it up, and boom. Yeah, that was a solid shot into the Nellis back straightaway.
But as you can imagine, Tony, I'm starting to second guess what the version of the race that I'm seeing here on my end. So I didn't want to overstate the, what I seen out there on the racetrack. But the 9 definitely, as you said, caught a piece of that wall.
Samuelson and Bonacasa going after each other now. Bonacasa on the top side got caught up there as Samuelson just sent it up the inside. Here comes Emily Urias. Something's not right in the 45 of Bonacasa right now.
Yeah, that 40.
Go ahead.
45 continues. You're right, Tony. Oh, big wiggle there out of the 11. That Cheetos machine once again. As that 45 continues to fall back, and you're right, he's currently off the pace. Not sure if he had a moment there he had to save it, or just decided he wanted to back out of a battle that he didn't feel comfortable being in. But that closing right there, that Cheetos car almost found himself in a crunch fest once again.
He absolutely did. Luckily, heads up driving, he was able to stay out of it. Nobody close enough behind him to really muck up the works there. As looks like Bonacasa and Holt have gotten clear, as they're now trying to reel in the 24 of Nicholas Breidenbach, who got his lap back from those two. Breidenbach, one of the last cars on the lead lap right now, or one of the first cars a lap or more down to your leader. So should something pop off.
Let's see, according to iRacing timing and scoring, I hope this is right. See, in the first car, 1 lap down is going to be that 62 machine of John Wilco.
It is.
In 16th spot.
It is at that. He's kind of on no man, or an island all by himself right now. 2.5 to Jeff Carson and almost 6.5 back to Chris Claude. One of your closest battles on track right now is this one between Root, Eaton, and Bonacasa.
Yes, they're currently in a dogfight. And Tony, another thing I'm starting to see here, these rear tires are starting to give up here just a little bit. Seeing some big wheels these drivers having to catch these race cars coming off the corner here. So we're currently working lap 156. And as this pace continues to go up, these cars are only going to get more of a handful to drive as these Dr. Feel Goods transition to Dr. Feel Bads.
Well, you're not wrong, but it kind of is what it is. The only thing is, I think just about everybody is on their 3rd set of tires already.
Yeah, you just don't have the luxury like we were talking about. This could be a major factor in the race, one of the main storylines, and that's the limited set of tires. And as much as
sorry about that, the 62 and
No.
the 9 of Carson almost got into each other coming out of 2.
Nah, I held my breath there for a minute just as you alerted us to that potential collision out there on the racetrack, getting dicey once again. Oh, the 82 is going to walk up the hill, graze the wall. Didn't look like he caught it a ton, just a little bit of contact there, enough to wake him up, as that car just did not want to turn, just plowed all the way up the hill.
It seems to be what a lot of these guys are suffering from right now as we're watching Bennett Allen caught on the low side. He's got the double deuce of Spivey and the deuce to his outside. That's Dalton Mobley.
Yeah, it
Mobley
just
currently
seems
running in 8th, plus 21 spots.
that's a nice gain. 21 spots inside the top 10. But getting back to what I was saying, Tony, it just seems like in traffic here in close proximity, you know, these cars, for whatever reason, just at random will just all of a sudden go to the plow. They just start plowing tight up the hill. And these drivers have to take evasive action to catch that race car. As I currently, seeing it more and more happen here on the racetrack again. There's another, that ZL1 Camaro of Nicholas Brodenbach washing up the hill as well there, having to reel it in and catch it.
Well, let me see if I can find, you can kind of see it here. You should be able to see it when we go by. As the 63 of Bob Nestor goes down the track. But keep your eye, you see where the taillights are? We're on board with Randy Spivey. You see where the tail lamps are on the car in front of him. And just above that is a metal support structure for the plexiglass rear spoiler. As a matter of fact, we are going to go on board up on the nose of Mobley's car as he's catching Chad Sanner in front of him. Now you're going to see the little plexiglass outline. This rear spoiler is about half or less as tall as it has been in years past here. And then you see those verticals at the bottom in the center under where it says Camaro. That is basically a vortex generator to try to suck the back of the car down. And what you're seeing in traffic is the airflow is disrupted coming out of that, and it's very easy. I mean, as soon as you lose either one of those and don't get clean air to either the push or the pull, the back end of this car will step out very quickly.
Yeah, the characteristics of downforce have changed on this car dramatically. And I don't want to call it simplistic or mechanical downforce, if that's what it is on the old car, but you have that big blade, way up there in the air, making all that downforce.
You can see the outline of the plexiglass just barely on the 59.
That is nothing compared to the car of the past.
Correct. It would take up half the rear window. And it was all solid metal.
And now you have all these different attributes that have to function properly to create the downforce. And Tony, like you said, you take one of those factors away out of the equation, and then suddenly you're holding on for dear life.
Okay, we can really see it here as we're on board with Nick Stein.
Yellow flag is out.
He's following Alex Princeton. What just happened there? Stage break. So that's going to be the stage break there. Take a quick look at our current top 10. Cranborg, Stafford, Sheridan, Cornez, Princeton, Stein, Sanner, Mobley, Samuelson, and Root. Your top 10 in this stage. We're going to rack them, stack them, and try it again. But we are first going to step away and pay a couple of bills. We'll be right back.
There's a new approach to lawn care, Preen One Lawn Care. Preen One does away with the hassle of multiple bags of different products. It has everything you need for a beautiful lawn in one bag. And all it takes is one application. For season-long weed control and feeding, apply the granules when the lawn is wet and weeds are actively growing. It blocks crabgrass all season. It prevents crabgrass seeds from growing. It kills the seedlings too, even when applied 4 weeks after they sprout. It's your best defense against tough weeds like dandelion, chickweed, henbit, and hundreds more. Plus, its slow-release formula feeds the lawn evenly for months to build stronger roots for maximum heat and drought resistance. Preen 1 delivers convenience and better performance in one package with one application. Spend more time enjoying your lawn and less time working on it. Preen 1, and it's done. It's a lawn dream come true.
What's up, guys? Roger Debo, front tire changer for the 45 Alpha Prime car. You're watching Sim Racing Media.
There's a new approach to lawn care, Preen 1 Lawn Care. Preen 1 does away with the hassle of multiple bags of different products. It has everything you need for a beautiful lawn in one bag. And all it takes is one application. For season-long weed control and feeding, apply the granules when the lawn is wet and weeds are actively growing. It blocks crabgrass all season. It prevents crabgrass seeds from growing. It kills the seedlings too, even when applied 4 weeks after they sprout. It's your best defense against tough weeds like dandelion, chickweed, henbit, and hundreds more. Plus, its slow-release formula feeds the lawn evenly for months to build stronger roots for maximum heat and drought resistance. Preen 1 delivers convenience and better performance in one package with one application. Spend more time enjoying your lawn and less time working on it. Preen 1, and it's done. It's a lawn dream come true.
And we are back at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, round number 3 of the Sunday Night NASCAR Series for the Cup cars. You're going to want to be sure to join us tomorrow night as well, being as we are also going to be here at Vegas for the Xfinity Series, as well as the CleanRacing.net Truck Series. Those will be 8:20 Eastern Time starts on that, and then the SCL International Cup Series will be at Chicagoland. So 3 races on tap for you tomorrow night as green flag comes out tonight. Travis Kleinborg wastes no time dropping the hammer. It's Ford and fuel for everybody so far. As we've got some heavy battling going on just outside the top 5. Stephen Cornez and Nick Stein going after each other right now. Stein wrestles the 5th spot away from... Oy.
Yeah, exactly. That got tight quick and in a hurry. As you were saying, Stein went ahead and took away that 5th position. I'm not sure for how long, though, as now you have Stephen Cornez back on the assault there in that Camry, looking to regain a couple spots that he lost on that restart. But up front, that 21, business as usual. Travis Kleinborg just so good on these restarts here. Caution after caution, that man is just able to get that car to hook and rip so well in that 21 machine. He does seem to be the class of the field so far, through the initial stages of this one. As we're past halfway now, does someone have what it takes to get up there and give Travis Kleinborg in that 21 a battle run for his money? Joseph Stafford, he's been close in that 57 all day. Just been a little off the pace of that 21 machine. But hey, the more cautions you get, the more chances, the more opportunities you get to go down pit road, make some adjustments on that race car. And if you don't have what it takes to get it done in short run speed, you can always try the long game if it works out in your favor as well. That is yet to be seen, though, as we've typically been averaging cautions right around every, outside of the back-to-back cautions, right around every 30, 35 laps or so throughout the course of this 174. Is this action-packed racing right here all the way back on through the field? I mean, pick your poison. There are battles going on all over the racetrack right now. Nick Stein, again, once in it. Stephen Cornez in that 14. He wants the position just going on outside the top 5. The 14 working the top side of the racetrack. He seems pretty comfortable up there. That Camry really gets a great run off the corner, but you got to make sure you don't clip the wall. That was close. It just show you how hard these guys are running, using every inch of that racetrack. And now here you go, that Lucas Oil Chevrolet starting to creep back into the picture in that 59 machine of Chad Sanner. He's working on the outside of that 19 of Ryan Samuelson.
Samuelson getting some headway going right now. As you take a look at your top 6, make that your top 7. Only 2 bow ties to speak of. Matter of fact, all the way back to top 8, and only 2 bow ties in the top 8. Everything else, Toyota. The next highest running domestic is going to be that Deuce, Dalton Mobley, as he's working the outside of RJ Root right now. Root not giving too much up as the 81 of Samuelson right in front of him. Throw a blanket. Oh, don't do it. They did it. They went 3 wide.
Yeah, still holding my breath coming out the other side of that 3 wide. Every time that happens, Tony, you can't help but think, because we've seen it time and time again at this racetrack, especially
it's
when
a
you're starting
Pavlovian reflex.
Exactly. It just happens.
And for those of you not knowing what I'm talking about, there was an experimenter that wanted to see if you can condition animals to react a certain way to certain stimulus. Like you ring a bell and give the dog a piece of food. Ring the bell, you give the dog a piece of food. Then you let the dog ring its own bell, you still give it a piece of food. Then all of a sudden you stop and the dog goes, mine. It's beating on the bell for hours on end and no food's coming. And the dog becomes aggressive. And that's what we're seeing here with these 3 wide situations.
An abrupt, sudden change in aggression and course. As patients start to wind down, as you were insinuating at there, Tony, it can only take so much. Then you're going to have to start pulling, knocking on the back door. But you got to be careful once you open that can of worms, especially at this racetrack. You turn someone around, that's oftentimes going to ruin their day. And you don't want to be on the other end of that karma later on in the race. So you got to be careful when you start to pull those chains out there on the racetrack, moving people out of the way. Only do it when absolutely necessary, because that'll start a whole nother wave of events that you typically aren't going to be on the right side of wrong looking in, as they continue to just be in an all-out dogfight here, Tony. These guys are not given an inch right now. They are take on the offense 100%, using every inch of this racetrack, flaring out 3 wide at times. all at 195 miles an hour. Where else would you want to be on a Sunday night in prime time?
In bed. I'm kidding.
No.
I'm kidding. But right now, the young man out of Southampton, New York, putting on a clinic here tonight. Over 3.5 seconds to the good. Uh-oh is right.
Someone just squirted out of the hot dog in the wrong direction. How was that a single car spin?
I don't know.
That is.
But he caught the crossover gate. That's Tony Burt.
He hit the gate?
He hit the crossover gate. 3 wide. Seba Cornez on the high side. Bennett Allen up the middle. And boom. And then back up the track. And how the 11 missed him, I have no idea. But, you know, we're going to watch that again from an onboard with Jones.
There have been some near misses tonight.
Yeah, watch this. Because we are on board with Jones right now. You're going to see it pop off in front of him. Way up there. There's the first hit. Jones is going up the track. Just misses it.
Wow.
He may have caught just a slight piece of it. Maybe, you know, a coating of wrap came off, and that's about it.
You can certainly manage that minimal damage. You changed the timing up on that just a little bit. Front of race car gone.
Sneeze and the front of the race car was gone.
He's probably reaching for a Tide stick right now for his race suit. I know I would be after that.
That would definitely be what we call a code brown moment.
Back in the days of Tide Ride, Lake Speed, Purex, it was okay. Get done with the race, throw your racing suit in the wash, you're good to go. But by today's standards, that's far few and in between. So Tide stick it is.
And as I'm looking here, El Dorado Cleaners is going to be your closest place to get that dry suit or that fire suit cleaned.
Yeah, as we're finding local dry cleaners in the area, there's something interesting going on there between the 81 and the, I believe, the 2 of Nick Stein under caution. They were exchanging hand signals there with their race cars.
And they weren't of the PG variety.
Well, one could only ponder.
That's the one thing I wish iRacing would give us. Forget all the extra peripherals that they're saying they want to come out with. Give us a button to give the other driver a middle finger.
Oh, could you imagine?
Oh, I'd have that button spammed. I'd be having it out the window the whole race.
They're going to need to hire a team of trauma counselors on iRacing if they make that happen.
Yeah.
Oh, the emotional breakdowns I can already see. As funny as that is, Tony, it's probably not a good idea.
Well, you know, hey. It's an idea. Hey. It may not be the best idea, but it's still an idea.
It's a really good idea. Just too bad no one knows how to take it these days anymore.
Yeah, you know, that's why I kind of look back at my generation with a lot of happiness, considering that we grew up with George Carlin, Red Fox, Sam Kinison, and Andrew Dice Clay.
Jamming in New York, case in point.
Mm-hmm. If you have a Gen Xer in your family, ask them to tell you the Mother Goose stories from Dice. I can guarantee you every Gen Xer knows those nursery rhymes.
I think that's part of the blueprint.
Oh, it is. I mean, you go to a buddy's house. Dude, my older brother at college let me borrow this. And you're listening to it just roaring, laughing. But meanwhile, Travis Craneboard going to have the button when we get ready to turn these guys back loose on the next lap. Getting ready to put 185 in the books already.
Yeah, it's hard to believe how fast this race has just clicked by, even with the cautions, as we re-rack and restack these competitors one more time. And the deeper we get into this one, the higher the stakes are going to be on the restart, which means we're going to see some over-the-top, perhaps, things we haven't seen in this race yet. So, Tony, you better strap yourself in, make sure Grandma's got some kernel-free popcorn for the long haul here tonight, because it's about to get next level here.
Grandma's dealing blackjack, buddy.
Blackjack?
Yep, Grandma's dealing blackjack. And
Now,
Grandpa's at the Texas Hold'em table.
You got to have them locked in on SRM, sir.
They are. They got them playing on the big screens next to the table.
Oh, okay, I get what you're saying now. Doink. Green flag back in the air. No stranger to being up front on the race start. That's that 21 of Travis Cryborg. He has just been relentless. He has been almost robotic on these restarts here tonight. Restart after restart. That 21 just finds a way to come out of the hole. P1 each and every time. He resumes the lead here. Fell in close proximity. That 74 machine of Brandon Sheridan. I believe that's the first time he's been up there in second spot tonight. Shift the 57 of Joseph Stafford back to third. The 19th of Alex Princeton running out your top five. Look who's in it now to win it. Coming in when it matters the most, the 69 of RJ Root. He's currently in fifth.
Root currently sitting plus 35, the pride of Gloucester, Virginia. And I'm sorry, I'm from the Northeast. It's Gloucester. Compared to how y'all say it down south of the Mason-Dixon. And if you don't believe me, ask Cliff Corvo sometime. Right now.
Cody, you gotta remember, I'm from New York originally. I'm from Buffalo.
I know.
So
I'm well aware of that.
I know I'm almost as deep as it gets in the South now, but I still have those northern roots, and they still hold strong.
No. Here's the thing. You go past the Mason-Dixon line, you're in the South. You go past Jacksonville, and you're back in the North.
Especially this time of the year.
True story. As we've got one heating up for the lead. First time tonight. Cranborg under heavy pressure from his teammate Sheridan on the top shelf.
Yeah, I don't think he can get a break tonight. It seems like every time we feature him on the broadcast, I can't even think of the words to say.
All important bonus point for Sheridan, though.
Very true statement there. But some of these guys just can't seem to catch their breath as they find themselves. Oh, a lot of chopping and dicing going on there. The 14 getting really aggressive there, making an aggressive cut down low. He's going to advance his position. It looks like over that 19 machine there of Alex Princeton. These Camrys looking really racy here as they're pretty much running in single file. Just the caboose there in that Camaro, but these Camrys, that 14, 19, 02, and the 81 have been working together majority of this race. Then they're separated by the Chevrolets of Joe Safford, Dalton Mobley, Chad Sanner, and Siva Cornez. I'm sorry, Chad Sanner, RJ Root as well. And then back to the front, two Toyotas, the 21 and the 74. You got to go all the way back to 15th to find the first blue oval, and that's the 00 a hot dog.
Javaja Holt.
Javaja Holt.
Running the top shelf right now. Charles Eaton working his way around him on the inside. Holt's going to slap back in. Now, the good news is the car behind Holt is not for position. That's Tanner Marty, who's currently sitting a lap or more down. Meanwhile, at the front of this piece, Stafford and Cornez starting to go after each other.
Yeah, as these laps continue to wind down, Tony, those gaps they've been giving each other as a courtesy, those are going to be going away quick, fast, and in a hurry. And you can feel the intensity picking up. You can feel the urgency. It's time to go. The driver's etiquette, that's out the window. is it's time to become a race car driver. It's all about doing what you're paid to do. And that's put your sponsors, everyone on that team that's helped you work on that car all week, get them to victory lane or advance them as high as you possibly can on the pylon. And if that means ruffling someone's feathers along the way, that's going to happen at times too. You just look at how tight this racing has gotten as they're utilizing all the lines going around this 1.5 mile over at over 194 miles an hour. Big wiggle there as they fan out once again. Look at the dive bomb.
Jeepers. And that could have ended poorly.
That broke down in 3 different waves over the course of turn 4 there, how that happened. And you're absolutely right, Tony. That could have been disastrous. As these guys are kind of anticipating there's going to be a hole and they're going for it ahead of time. And if it doesn't happen to open, there's going to be some hard contact. You see Emily Urias now in that Ford Mustang working the top side of the racetrack. Oh my God, what a move. Just the fact that these guys can cut the car down low with at those speeds and not lose the back end of the race car is impressive. As they are making some drastic darting changes here, just trying to pick up a spot or two, as they are literally nose to tail, bumper to bumper, as they are flaring out all over the racetrack. They're fighting against the last lap right now, Tony.
They are at that. These guys are going to have to get this sorted out quickly. As we've got some lap cars thrown into this mix. Bennett Allen, one of the ones who's now working. Well, he was working in between Joe Stafford and company. But here's Emily Urias, who is also a lap car. She's back in 30th. Bennett Allen in the 15 is sitting in 18th.
He's currently your lucky dog contender right now, so it makes sense while he's up there mixing it up, trying to make sure if that caution flag does again come out, that he doesn't bring it out and he gets his lap back. That just goes to show you, though, Tony, the pace that these guys have been running. You know, we started this race with 40-plus competitors all on the lead lap. Fast forward to lap 198, only 17 on the lead lap.
Well, we're currently 60 to go, and my loose math says you can make it on one more stop, depending on when you take it.
And they're probably going to have to is, you know, if you're lucky to have one set of tires left in the pits. So you're right, Tony. You're going to have to make that. You're going to have to make those tires last. We know the fuel can last. The story has been the tires and the fall off, especially if you push that car a little too hard. Working lap 199 this time by will be at lap 200. And like you were saying, that means there's going to be just 67 laps remaining this time at the line.
You know what? We're going to take a look at... These are some of the last pit stops we saw. Oh!
Oh, there they go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars into the wall. Spinning howitzer, massive contact.
Travis Kleinborg involved in that one. Eugenio Alonso, Joe Stafford, Ryan Samuelson, John Crow.
Yes, turns 1 and 2 is turned into a 6 o'clock traffic jam as the big one pops off here at Las Vegas. Lap 200, multiple cars involved. Tony, we're definitely going to have to go back and dissect this one.
Well, the 15 gets down on the apron, nerfs the 86. Stafford tries to squeeze by, doesn't. Tarnowski gets sent. Keep your eye on the pink and white car at the bottom of your screen. That's Tarnowski.
Yeah, he got put on a flyer.
Oy.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, you're just holding on. A lot of heavy contact in this wreck here, too, Tony.
Everybody behind him, for the most part, oy. Mama.
Yeah, just when you think it's over, it's not. This pit road again has become the hot spot on the racetrack. All these cars that were just involved in that last incident out there now frantically going to work on their race cars, see what damage they can get fixed. Hopefully they're not torn up too bad. No broken toe links, no broken spindles.
As we're on board with Ryan Samuelson, you see all the smoke. He's off the trigger, trying to drive his way through it. Gets it almost woed down, and Stafford runs it back up the track and into him.
It's like driving into a sea of unguided missiles. You get past one and there's another one closing right in on you.
Yeah. We're out of chaff, bud.
I'm not sure chaff was even helping you there in that one. As there was just cars torpedoing all over the place. I mean, you couldn't see, first of all that tire smoke. You're going in there blind and just praying you come out the other side. That's going to have big implications in this race now late. Currently working lap 202. I think that's going to change the front of the field a little bit as well, Tony.
It is at that. Esteban Cornez took fuel only. Everybody else foreign fuel. And a lot of guys on pit road still for damage repair. But I'm not sure I agree with that strategy out of the 14 camp. Unless they don't have tires left, in which case that's scary to think about. Because now you've got to do almost 60 laps on the same set of tires.
What's even scarier is I wouldn't be surprised if there's other drivers and other teams in that same predicament right now as well.
Well, the only other one would be Dalton Mobley in the 2. He's been down pit road 8 times. RJ Root has been down pit road 8 times. You know what? Let's do this. Hold on a second.
Yeah, there's been a few that have been down pit road more times than what they've had tires for.
So Root did a fuel-only stop around mid-race. Let's take a look at the top 15. Foreign fuel. Foreign fuel only for Root. Foreign fuel. Foreign fuel damage repair. Foreign fuel for Princeton. Foreign fuel for Wilco. Foreign fuel damage repair for Eaton. This is your top 15 as they currently sit. And I'm only seeing one guy in the past handful of pit stops who, there we go, Marty is the only other one. So Marty and Root might have a set left.
I feel like the richest man in Las Vegas right now, if that's the case, if things play out right, Tony. Another caution deep in this one, and you have a set of four Dr. Sticker Feel Goods. The damage you can do, and I shouldn't say damage, but the positions you can gain with those tires, if you have them and are able to use them in the right manner, that can completely turn your race around.
Right, but we've seen it very easy to go 2 laps down here by taking foreign fuel. Very easy to go 2 down. And then you're behind the 8 ball because you not only have to unlap yourself, you got to weave your way through the field a second time.
Well, exactly, and that's what I meant by under the right conditions. And I should have been more specific. Caution, because you're right. Green flag pace, even those fresh tires, you're not going to be able to overmake that. 2 laps, that's just an eternity. You're done.
RJ Root gives the chrome horn to Cornez right away as Cornez was worried about slipping the tires.
Boom shakalaka from RJ Root, literally all over the back of that car. Wasted no time. Well, that's one way to get it done. It's
RJ Root. Here comes Cossey behind Root. Root and Causey, two of your biggest movers right now in the top 5. Root, of course, starting shotgun on the field after not laying a time in qualifying after something that happened last week and having to go to the backup car tonight. Started 40th. Is currently sitting plus 49 right now, or plus 39, sorry. Causey is plus 10. Mobley up there with him in 3rd. He's plus 26.
That is just incredible. The type of gains you're seeing up near the front of the field right now. You want some more numbers to play for your lottery? There you go. Those are some good bets right now. How about that 69 car being shown at the front of the field right now? I mean, he was tail end as far back as you could get, and he has made the charge all the way back to the point, showing you why he's the current points leader in the series.
Well, here's the thing, too, is he didn't just elect to go to the tail end of the field. He also pit started, which means he was already 3/4 of a lap behind by the time he got off the pit road, because he has the last pit stall, or the first pit stall, depending on how you want to look at it. As soon as you come onto pit road, boom, your stall's right there.
Right, and iRacing won't let you leave that pit stall until the field is taking the green flag coming on by. So they're already coming up to speed, and you're starting from the very back of the pit stall. You're absolutely right, Tony. So that man has probably passed more cars than anybody in competition here tonight, made up the most ground, and he is currently at the point, the 69 machine. RJ Root at the front. Tony, we talked about it early on. If he did it, how long would it take? I never would have thought before lap 220 he would be up to the front, but he's done it. That's 69, up 39 spots. How about Dalton Mobley, up 27 positions in 2nd. Joseph Causey up 9 in 3rd. Chevrolet is owning the top 3 spots right now. That's a little bit of a different look, as Toyotas have dominated the most in a big portion of this race. You got to go all the way back to 4th. That 19, Alex Princeton, to see your first Toyota currently in 4th.
Well, here's the other thing you need to look at, a different complexion of this race. You see the left front damage on the 21, actually both front end complete damage on the 21. That's Cranebourg. And that's a lap car to his outside of Ryan Tarnowski. But Cranebourg has clinched most laps led about 20 laps ago and has since fallen way back. We've got problems. That's the 4.
Oy.
Tony Burt having issues. So's the 15. What's going on with those two guys?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out, Tony.
Well, let's go back and take a look. This is a lap earlier. There's the 4. Gets up and out of the way of everybody. Knows the race leader's coming. He's got a tire cut down. That car, he's got a tire cut down. That car is not good for it right now. Stays up, stays pinned to the wall. Tries to get down.
Yikes.
15, absolutely nowhere to go. But we stay green.
Still trying to figure out how, but we stay green. And Tony, I can't cut tires. I mean, that's far few and in between in iRacing. I know it's starting to become a thing as of more recent. But talk about just horrible luck and timing to cut a tire down deep into the late stages in this one.
And then get more damage from it. I think he had a left rear spindle going away after the contact that he had. You know, and then he had problems with the 15 as well. Is Cranebourg back on pit road?
Yeah, once that spindle lets go, it's like slamming a basketball underneath the fender well of that car.
Yeah, unfortunately, physics has not perfected Bluetooth suspension components yet.
Key word there is yet.
Exactly. So right now we're watching Causey and Sander go door to door. They're kind of holding up those lines behind them. And you know as well as I do, Brandon Sheridan doesn't have a lot of patience. And if he feels he's being held up, he's going to do something about it.
Well, the start of the race, give and take, that's on full display. It's early. But this racetrack, this wears you down physically and mentally. All that close, tight racing, 3 wide at times, that really absorbs and uses up all the patience, all the calmness in that inside that race car driver. Now, lap 216, you're absolutely right, Tony. If anyone's holding anyone up on that racetrack, they are going to make quick action, and often that's going to come the form of a shove to the back bumper just to move them out of the way. You hold them up again, well, you might take a shot, get set for a ride. But how about the 69 as he continues to lead laps here in Sin City, Las Vegas, starting from the tail end of the field from pit road, and he has made it all the way back to the front and gapping him almost a half-second advantage right now to the 69.
It's actually closer to 3/4 of a second now, as Mobley, the only other one within sight of him, as that gap is extending to a full second. Yeah, the second and a half back to that peloton. Sander, Cossey, Princeton, Sheridan, Stein, Eaton, and Alonso all right there. All it's going to take is one person to hiccup wrong, and you've torn up some really good race cars tonight if that happens.
Yeah, just look at the distance he is putting on him on corner exit. Ooh.
That was Eaton.
He was eating all right.
And safer barriers don't taste too good, especially at 185 mile an hour.
I like when Kyle Busch said, "Hey, you want to see how it feels to hit a wall? You want to ride in the car with me? Find out for yourself."
Yeah.
I guarantee if you had the cojones to do it, that'd be the last time you probably hit the wall in a next-gen car with any NASCAR driver.
Well, let's put it this way: it definitely wouldn't be as hard of a contact with the wall, because you put somebody that knows what they're doing, a good engineer, in the passenger seat of one of these cars, and then pancake the right side. I guarantee you that'll be the last time we have to go to concussion protocol.
Well, Tony, not everyone is as gifted and well-rounded as you are. However, I absolutely agree with you. You know what? I'm actually going to coin that, and I'm going to hold you to that one. And you're absolutely right. I'll back you up on it 100%.
Okay. But trust me, there are a lot smarter people than I am. I'm just a bottomless pit of useless facts.
And that there is where excellence comes from.
Want to thank everybody that's joined us tonight in the live chat. I just took a look. Holy cow, y'all are making it. You're making me and Matt feel real welcome up here. If you haven't done so already, think about giving this video a thumbs up, because that really does help. It lets our bosses know that you like the content we're bringing you guys week in and week out. And we are back full swing with everything now. And Matt, we've got races 7 nights a week again.
That's right. SRM, smash the like button, ring the bell if you're not part of the family. Best way to join it, right there on that YouTube channel. Smash the button, come home. We got high-flying eSIM racing action 7 nights a week. You can count on it, just like Tony was saying. That's right here at SRM. As we're getting down to the wire here, working lap 223. And out front, carrying the torch, that is Raymond Root. Started deep in the Netherlands in this one. P40 back in no man's land from pit road on top of it. And that 69 still finds his way to the front. You want to know why he's your points leader? Drive and determination and can do. And that's what the 69 is doing right now.
Don't flag it out.
Yeah, Root.
Oh, caution.
No caution.
Yeah, I got a caution flag on.
I got a caution flag now, too. You're right. We do have caution.
Sitting there going, oh, no, not again.
It looks like something happened with Travis Cranborg. Let's go back and take a look here. Nope. Oh. He's got Bluetooth suspension. What happened previous to that?
Were we just talking about Bluetooth suspension?
Yeah. Let's see what the track cameras picked up here.
Maybe this will give some insight.
Well, you can see that that right front looks broke. Maybe it wasn't Cranborg.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure who or what it was, but nonetheless, that caution flag is out. This kind of changes the complexion of this race up a lot. Is now that nice gap, that buffer the 69 had, completely erased, and here we come. Pit road, hottest spot in the joint right now is everyone. The entire field's charging down. Who has tires? Who doesn't have tires? We're about to find out. As we've seen what the advantage of fresh tires is on this racetrack, relevant to cars having 20, 30 laps. It has not been a contest. Tires at a premium. Who's done the best job saving their equipment? Who has a set of Dr. Feelgoods in the pits? So we already see that 69 completing his service, coming down pit road. Let's see if he's going to be able to keep the lead.
He is not.
The 59 machine.
The 2 of Mobley fuel only. The 59 is Sanner fuel only. Root, the first one to take that final set of tires here, as we're going to get a restart inside 40 to go. So yeah, right at the max of that window for tires.
Yeah, well said, Tony. Looks like everyone in front of Root fuel only. So he's going to be the first car in line at 69 with 4 fresh Dr. Feelgoods on that race car. But that's also going to drop him all the way prospectively further back in the field than what he probably anticipated, as he now has his work cut out for him. There's a Chevrolet's now continue to dominate the top of the pylon late, which earlier in the race was controlled by those Toyotas, as you know.
The first part of the race, first part of the season's been dominated by the Toyotas so far. But the Chevy's starting to, turn up the wick a little bit here. So on the super speedways, it was all Toyota. Here we are at 1.5 miles with Chevy showing its hand finally. Does that mean the Ford are going to be our short track car this year?
You know what? You're right, Tony. Let's just be brutally honest. Toyota has been everything the other cars should have been out there on the track so far this year. They've been showing up. The Chevrolets, the Mustangs, they have been struggling. And the Ford woes continue tonight. Is still, you have to go outside the top 10 to find the first blue oval. And I love Mustangs. All the way back to 11th. Something's got to be done about that.
Just up the road in Bisbee, Arizona, that is Randy Spivey in the Mission 22, who was a lap down at one point. Spivey able to claw his way back up, not only onto the lead lap, but he's plus 22 spots from where he started in 11th.
Well, you know, Mission 22, you know that driver's on a mission, such a great cause, what they do, helping veterans. Cannot thank them enough. Great to have them on the card here tonight, Mission 22. If you don't know who they are, check them out online. Get yourself caught up to speed, the knowledge, everything they do to help the veterans that serve our country day in and day out. Currently start to re-rack, restack the field here, Tony, one more time. The calm before the storm, if you will. Just a few short laps from now.
There go the wave arounds, and here we go as we are currently 40 to go. We're going to restart on 39. Now, everybody should be able to make it on fuel. It's the question remaining, does anybody have a set left now? The only person that I see that possibly might still have a set is Chris Claude, restarting in 12th in the Dasani number 10, as he's the only one that could possibly have a set left. Everybody else, actually, Emily Arias might still have one set left. So
that sounds like something Emily would do. Emily very well may have a set of tires left.
She knows how to save her equipment, man.
She does. She darn good at it, too.
She was on our endurance team. And she was double stinting those tires like there was no tomorrow. And we kept telling her, you can take tires. We're not limited. It's okay, these are still good. And she was right. And here we go. Mobley having the button as they go into the green restart zone.
Oh, it is tight, and it is already starting to get diced up just in back of the lead. Here's a 69 RJ Root, wasted no time on those 4 fresh Dr. Feelgoods. He is full send, wide open, transitioning through the corner, going down the backstretch. It's a drag race. The 69 takes no point going back to the point. However, he is towing the 74. Brandon Sheridan with him in that Toyota Camry as well. Oh, as he looks to cross over the 69, just doesn't have the momentum. He's going to have to fall back in line.
Hold on. We're back under caution. Dave Reels pointed the wrong way on a one-way street. Let's see what happened to Mr. Rogers.
Someone didn't want to be his neighbor.
That's what it looks like. Is it the Miley Cyrus of the league that did it to him?
Oh, no.
Nope. He did it to himself.
Self-inflicted.
It got made to my attention last week that Seba Cornez is the Miley Cyrus of SNN.
Those are bold words from a...
He came in like a wrecking ball.
Did not.
I had to have it explained to me too, so don't worry about it.
All you ever did was ARCA brake me, right?
Yeah, he ARCA braked me from the side. Kind of shades of Matt Kenseth on Joey Logano, Martinsville, 4 years ago.
Yeah, that was probably the most savage, just all-out assault I've ever seen in the modern era, where Matt Kenseth, just so uncharacteristic of him. I mean, he just blatantly wiped Logano off the face of the earth.
But he called his shot.
He did, like Babe Ruth back in the day.
He said at the race Logano eliminated him with a similar move, he won't see the championship for.
I believe he actually did use those words correct in an interview.
That's exactly what he said. And then waited a week, and because you can't do it at a place like Talladega, so he waited till they got back to a short track where, you know, you can take a little bit more of an aggressive bump.
At least he was smart about when and where he decided to repay that favor, because Talladega, that's life ending.
That could hurt. Yeah, that could hurt a lot of people. Whereas the only thing that really got torn up at Martinsville were race cars and pride.
A couple bruised egos in there as well.
Yeah.
Hey, Mr. Rogers, Dave Regal, he's got it pointed the right way again. Sim and Wordbird inside that car, try to get things corrected, pointing back in the right direction. See if he can rebound here late in this one. So we're working lap 232, Tony. That means we're well inside the 30-lap barrier. As things are only going to intensify from here as the 69 has completed the comeback all the way from the back to the front. Don't blink your eyes. Don't try to refocus your screen at home. That is correct. The 69 is the race leader, up 39 positions on the racetrack. It is 69 time at the front, and that is Raymond R.J. Root.
At one point, he was 2 laps down. Then got back on the lead lap under caution. Matter of fact, I think it was the first stage break that got him back on the lead lap. And then a steady claw up towards the front, and here we go. And I'll tell you right now, I can name you a couple of guys that are not happy campers right now. One of them is back there in 15th. That's Joe Stafford. He was running up front, and now he's not. As lights should be going out on the pace car this time by.
Yeah, Joe Stafford at 57 is probably hotter than a $3 pistol, and rightfully so. Currently seeing some more cars down pit road coming off, having some more last-minute repairs done to their race car.
As you do. You know, you're under caution. You can spend that little extra time pit farming the vehicle. Do it. You know, get as much damage repair as you can. So, you know, the final laps here don't have to suck any more than they are going to.
Yeah, aero, and more aero. If your car is bent up a little bit, it is going to suffer in speed big time. So like you said, Tony, take every opportunity you have to the last second on pit road getting that damage fixed. As we see those lights out on the iRacing.com pace car one more time.
I do need to pause you, Matt. A threat has been made against your life if you utter the phrase Dr. Feelgood one more time.
Oh, you know that's going to happen.
I know. I just wanted to make sure you were aware of that.
That's okay. I've had worse.
And that would, of course, be the father of our current, or the man who led the most laps here tonight, Travis Cranford. John, I'll try to keep him under control. I make no promises. So RJ Root has the button. Here we go into the restart zone.
Green flag.
Root wastes no time jumping on the loud pedal, and we are back underway. Sheridan getting a decent restart. He's going to drop down in front of the deuce of Mobley. That's going to hang Costi out to dry on the top shelf. Boy. A lot of yeeting and yanging going on right now as Mobley and Princeton were door to door. Here comes Alonso up the inside. This is the closest pack racing we've seen since the opening of this race. As trying to come up through the middle. That is the 73. Thinks better of it, though.
Yeah, wise decision there. Don't want to pull that one out of your back pocket too soon. You still have plenty of laps here to go before you want to get that aggressive. Back up front once again. Brandon Sheridan in that 74 machine, really starting to apply some pressure on the back of that CL1 Camaro. Trying to get him rear view mirror driving just a little bit, get him to miss his mark on corner entry or exit, and you bet if there's a little bit of daylight, that 74 is going to take it.
Joe Stafford looking to the inside of Kavaja Holt. That is for 8th and 9th right now. Stafford now has it back. He's going to have an uphill yeoman's work to try to get back towards the front of this piece. As I believe that is Steve Cornez right behind him. Yes, it is. It's Cornez trying to claw his way back forward. Kavaja Holt currently plus 30 right now. Your second biggest mover on track in the positive direction.
Yeah, and speaking of biggest movers, we have, some really standout performers here tonight. That number one being up 39 spots to 69 of Raymond R.J. Root. 7th position up 23 spots. That's going to be the 73 of Tanner Marty. 9th position, 30 positions. Carva Holt, or Carva Hog Holt.
Kavaja.
Oh, thank you. Kavaja Holt, 30 positions to the good. And then another honorable mention here back in 15th, up 21 spots to 77 of Rick Jeanette.
Jet.
Or Jet. I'm thinking of Rick
I've done that. I've done that myself, so don't feel bad. As longtime Buffalo Sabres fans, you can kind of give us that one, folks. And, they did retire the microphone last season. This season, they had the final Miller time last night. As Ryan Miller's number retired from the Sabres program now is Ken Ron. Nope, that was not Ron that was off pace. That's Charles Eaton that is off pace. And he's coming pit side now with some heavy damage on the right side of that car.
And that's certainly not what that driver wants to see deep in this one, as we are in the winding things down here as things are slowly starting to pick up. RJ hasn't been able to pull away like he has on past restarts. This time that 74 of Jordan has been hanging right with him about a car length and a half right off the back bumper of that ZL1 Camaro. Don't look now. Look who's also closing into the picture. That's going to be the 88 of Joseph Causey in that Chevrolet Camaro. He hasn't been up to the point yet tonight, but he is the furthest he's been forward, making some good time around that racetrack.
And
these guys,
and the three of those guys running stem to stern right now, that's letting them pull a gap over this group being led by Princeton and Stein, as they're still side by side. So, I mean, it's still a lot of racing left here in the top 5.
Still a lot of racing left in the top 5, but like you said, as they're running in a draft formation around this 1.5 mile oval, they are definitely starting to gap the remainder of the field, who's in the middle of a dogfight as they're too wide. These guys continue to pull away a couple tenths a lap.
That's Alonso now plus 12 on the outside. Finally wrestles a spot away from Stafford, as Stein is falling back now. Stafford actually going with Alonso. Tanner Marty working the top shelf now in the Rainier number 73. The second lane starting to come in, and look who's back in the hunt. Although he is a lap down, unfortunately. Travis Kleinborg right back in the thick of things, showing that car still has pace. If he hadn't gotten caught up in someone else's dumpster fire, who knows what we could be talking about right now in front of this piece.
Did you have to go with dumpster fire?
Why didn't I?
I'm just mad because I didn't say it.
Something could have happened there as the 45 got yeeted up into Holt. Hang on to her, bud. Little Bonacasa not giving a rip right now. As you can see the damage on the right front of that Chevy. Here comes Anina Carson to his inside. 81 of Samuelson back in the mix as well. So you're watching 10th, 11th, 12th, and 13th all going after each other. Make that 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. And they're starting to reel Princeton back in as your top 3 have just started to walk this field.
Yeah, I don't know if that was by design, but hey, it's working for these guys right now. Every single lap they run tucked in behind each other, single file like this. That's making this more of a three-man race for the win here in Las Vegas, right from the heart of Sin City in primetime Sunday night style. 69 of RJ Root, can he continue to triumph and make the comeback all the way from the rear of the field tonight? And I mean as furthest back as you possibly could, starting from that final pit stall on pit road as well, as the laps continue to wind down.
20 to go at the stripe.
20 laps to go at this time by. Thank you, Tony. But that 88 really starting to put the pressure on the back of that 74 Camry, probably the most we've seen so far tonight. Did he save enough tires? Are those Goodyear Eagles still stout enough to come up there and pose a threat to that 69? See, we changed it up.
Absolutely. That's why I missed the tire wars of the late 80s and early 90s.
We definitely know what band he doesn't like.
Well, I mean, let's face it, that band has kind of gone south.
Yeah, and you know what the funny part is? I wasn't even thinking about that, but he has a point.
They've had some good songs, but, you know, like a lot of glory bands like that, you got to learn when to hang them up. The guy that's not hanging them up yet, that's Nick Stein working the inside of the 73 of Tanner Marty. Stein still trying to claw his way back forward. Marty plus 24. Stein now minus 5. As he did not have a good opening salvo here tonight.
No, it's kind of been an up and down day for Nick Stein.
Kavaja Holt just got yeeted. Let's go back and take a look at what happened with Kavaja here.
How many times in one race can you woulda, coulda, shoulda wrecked and somehow contact is completely avoided? It's just incredible that the driving that has been on display here tonight in these close quarters situations.
Got it loose off a 2, chased it down the hill, stayed off everything, and stayed on the throttle. Nicely done, sir.
Great piece of driving. These guys don't get enough credit sometimes. That is very hard to do. It is definitely not easy. And we've seen a lot of those types of saves tonight here, Tony.
We have at that as we're watching Tanner Marty in the 73 work with Nick Stein, Alex Brinson, and Jeff Carson right there all in line. As here comes Stein to the inside on Marty, coming off a 2 and down the Nellis back straightaway. Drag race down the strip.
Hey, it's not over unless you got a good drag race to throw in there as well, and that's what we currently have going on late in this one. RJ Root, Brandon Sheridan, Joseph Causey, all up front, running 1, 2, 3 right now. That 69 machine looks to be putting the gap back on the top 3 right now, just a little bit. Is that interval's hovering just under a half a second. That 69 just pulling it out just a little bit, little breathing room, just to get his comfort zone back, so he's not under complete duress, being forced to make a mistake late in this one. Seems like he's running his car as hard as he has to keep in front of that 74 in the 88. However, that 88 of Joseph Causey has not backed off of Brandon Sheridan at all whatsoever, currently putting as much pressure as he possibly can on that second place machine, Brandon Sheridan.
He is at that. Causey running him clean, but definitely letting him know, if you make a mistake, I'm here. And all that battling and defensive driving, that's let Eugenio Alonso get up into 4th and reel these guys back in. So this race is far from over with 13 to go.
Oh, look how tight that was. Knocking on the back door. It's not delivery. It's Joseph Causey of that 88. Literally looked like he was bump drafting them. They were that close.
He probably was. Why wouldn't you at this point? We're closing in on 10 to go quickly here. It'll be 12 at the line.
Well, bump drafting is one thing, and then there's doing it in the corner. And I just don't know how well that works, doing it in the corner at these speeds this late in the run. But nonetheless, if you talk about putting someone in the pressure cooker, I can't think of a better example of that than the 88, what he's doing to that 74 machine lap after. Oh, get skinny.
You're watching Nick Stein, Tanner Marty, and Joe Stafford all almost get to the wall simultaneously. That is 5th, 6th, and 7th.
Near disaster avoided once again.
Causey and Sheridan now door-to-door on the front stretch. Causey going to have the spot going into 1. Can he get him cleared? No, he can't, because the 74 is not lifting. The only thing is, Eugenio Alonso right there as well. So 8 Toyota and 4 Chevys in the top 5 right now. This is vastly different than what we've seen in the previous 2 races this season.
Yeah, and vastly different from what we've seen early on, or the first 120 laps or so. These Chevrolets finally finding some speed here late in. They were going here tonight, occupying the top 3 spots. That's the 69 of Raymond R.J. Root, the 88 Joseph Causey, and the 86 of Eugenio Alonso. Those guys also some big movers.
Oh!
39. Take it, Tony.
It was Tanner Marty going for a ride. He still doesn't have it pointed the right way. Let's go back and take a look at what caused this one. Yellow finally does come out. Keep your eye on Stein in the 02, Marty in the 73. Stein just went up into him.
You kind of had a feeling if it was going to pop off, it was going to be right around that 10th place position because they were at an all-out war.
Well, for his credit, the 73 of Marty tried to save it. Oh my God!
Did you see? Well, looking at that gesture, someone definitely feels like they were wronged at minimum.
I don't know what the 62 was doing. We're going to watch it from the blimp, then we're going to watch it on board. Good grief.
It'll be the 62 of John Welko.
As we're on board with Wilco right now, he sees the smoke. Not lifting, not lifting. Now he lifts. Here comes Daredevil. Why would you do that?
I'm not sure, Tony. But then again, you know, I haven't been out there competing and battling in these conditions for 267 laps either. You know, patience wears down everything starts to wear down and deteriorate late into these races, especially when, you know, the battles have been that close. Just, you know, never being able to take your foot off or lay off the offensive as the racing has just been side by side, door to door. And you're starting to see some of that boil over now late in this one. Pit road again becomes the hot spot. Multiple cars coming on down. Final service on their race car. Perhaps the final time they will be in their pit stall tonight.
Joseph Cossey stayed out. RJ Root had another set on pit road, finally used them. And everybody behind him had one set left.
Okay, so clearly they had more sets of tires than what was shown in the info, which that's actually I'm actually glad to hear that, because trying to figure out how they were going to do that with just 4 sets of tires that's a ton of ask out of those drivers in those race cars.
I was struggling at 5. But everybody had, it looks like 6.
That's what I'm going with. As RJ Root looks to find himself now a little further down the order, but he has 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles on that race car. And Tony, we know how big those are out there on the racetrack. When others have a couple laps or heat cycles on their tires, it's just night and day difference.
Well, we're going to restart right around 5 to go. So we should get it. We're not going to be in the overtime yet. Although we are going to have up to 3 attempts at overtime. But hopefully we won't need it. But the thing to keep in mind, Joseph Cossey has 40 lap older tires than anyone else. This could get sketchy.
That's substantial. I mean, you have to worry about spinning your tires on the restart. I mean, potentially just bottlenecking the whole field. We know what happens. You know, a couple rows on back, the accordion effect. You know, you got cars slamming into each other from that potential checkup. There's so many things that could go wrong here. But you have to admire the willpower just to be up there, taking a chance, rolling the dice to do something different, to try and to grab a win. Shows you how important they are to these drivers in this series on Sunday night in prime time.
Causey looking like he might take the outside on the restart. Drops back down to the low side, though. That would have made things very interesting for both Root and Stafford. Now they're going to be starting stem to stern. They could have been starting almost door to door and giving the advantage to Stafford, with Root starting on the inside and Stafford being able to see the leader better than Root would have been able to. So here we go. It's going to be a green, white checker when we get back to green flag action. Now remember, folks, the leader has to cross the start-finish line for us to start the final lap in order for us to race back to checkers. If not, we're going to rack and stack them and try it again for up to 3 chances at overtime. But we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves right now as Cossey and Root on the front row, Sheridan and Stafford on the second row, Princeton and Alonso making up row number 3. As pace car makes that hard left turn, bouncing it onto pit road. Cossey has the button, into the restart zone they go. Cossey gets into it. Root didn't go. That checked Stafford up. It's going to let Sheridan get a shot.
Sheridan's going to get a shot and a big stack up there right at the front of the field. It's never over until it's over, and no one said it was going to be easy. If we've seen these types of twists and turns on these restarts late in the game, late in the race tonight, is so much currently on the line. So you really feel the intensity.
4 wide.
We barely made 3 wide work. Now we're 4 wide on this racing surface. I'm not sure how well that works, Tony.
It doesn't. Sheridan sideways. Around goes Root. Stafford involved in that one. Holy macadocious.
Tony, I can't believe what I'm witnessing right now up here in the SRM booth. Huge implications right now unfolding on the racetrack.
Well, watch it here as Sheridan is going to get sideways. Root gives him a bump going into 1. Sheridan now is chasing it. The back end's happy on that one. The 88 bails out. The 86 goes up into the 57, who is going. He has nowhere to go at that point, as Root's already sideways in front of him.
Yeah, at this point, he's just hanging on for the ride.
Ken Ron also catching a piece. Let's watch that one again here. This is what the chopper picked up. There's the bump from Root on Sheridan. Sheridan goes a little bit hotter in the corner than he wanted to. Back end steps out. 86 tries to shoot a gap that's not there, and that's what 4 wide gets you.
Yep, gap anticipation. You got to hope and pray that that opening is there that you anticipate, and it just didn't happen that time. And now massive implications. Some of the sentimental favorites and the favorites tonight, your current points leader, RJ Root, involved, as well as others.
Joe Stafford, your other points leader coming in tonight. Now the good news is Stafford's going to stay on the lead lap for now, back in 13th, as they get their claw some of those positions back. The 88 going with him. There's RJ Root getting trapped back there. Ken Ron behind him. Sheridan, though, going to get the luckiest of them all, as he's going to be leading us back to green here. Stafford Stein going to start behind him.
Yeah, Nick Stein in that 0-2. Furthest I think he's been up through the field so far tonight in that 3rd position.
I believe you are correct, sir. So you kind of got a feel for Eugenio Alonso right now. Stafford's going to restart in 4th.
Yeah, Stafford's going to restart in 4th. And look who else is starting to climb into the picture. We haven't talked about him a lot tonight, and that's going to be the 9 of Jeff Carson as well.
Stafford goes pit side.
What?
Stafford went pit side.
Well, there's only one reason why you'd bring it down pit road on lap 268.
A meatball flag.
Exactly.
For those of you wondering what we're talking about, there's a black flag and then there's a black flag with an orange dot in it. The black flag means you've got to get off the track. black flag with the orange dot in it means that the officials aren't liking what they're seeing with your car, and they want your team to look at the car.
Yeah, basically that meatball flag says your car is now turned to trash out there on the racetrack, and it is done. It is spent. And if you continue to make laps on the racetrack, you'll be black flagged, and more bad things will happen. Tough break.
Dang.
Definitely feel for that driver right now. You're just running a really good race here tonight. But that's racing. Sometimes these things happen at the end. I don't want to call it a racing deal. Sometimes, that term gets used loosely, but unfortunately, that's just what it was. You have to go for it. You have to try to get everything you can. And, deep late into a race like this, there's going to be zero give and take. And that's, and everyone, all these different drivers out there in these cars, they all accept that. That's a possibility. Sometimes you come out of the other side looking great, and other times you wind down, in the pits with a meatball flag. That's just how the cookie crumbles.
Unfortunately, you're absolutely right there, but this means that we're going to see some different faces up at the front now. Brandon Sheridan, he's run towards the front all night. Nick Stein has had to claw his way towards the front all night. Eugenio Alonso, he's been making some headway all night long. And Jeff Carson, he's had some ups and downs tonight, but currently, he's going to be restarting in fourth with Seba Cornez to his inside in fifth.
Right, and some might consider that the catbird seat. So we got a couple new faces here now, like you were saying, Tony, inside the top 5. We haven't seen them run up here. We don't know, necessarily, how much of their car is left. The current status of those Goodyear Eagles on their race car. A lot of unknowns here to make it interesting, but those lights are out on that pace car. That means we're about to uncork these guys one more time, bring those V8s roaring back to life, see if we can settle this out, or if we're going to continue to go into overtime laps.
Bite your tongue. As your biggest mover right now is back there in 8th in the 00. That's Navaja Holt, currently sitting plus 31. As the pace car is now off, Sheridan has the button. Into the restart zone they go, and those two Toyotas get an amazing jump on the inside.
Oh, what a push from the 74, the 02 working together as they get a huge run out the whole shot there. As that 74 02 are still connected. They now separate as they got a sizable lead. What a magnificent restart there by the 74 02 working together. That's Brandon Sheridan and Nick Stein. As Stein continues to be on the move late in this one, all the way up to P2 as they are fanning out behind him.
Yeah, they're fanning out behind him, but take a look at what just happened to your top 6, all Toyotas. Your highest running bow tie right now is going to be Eugenio Alonso in the 86 on the top side. And he's got the highest running blue oval with Navaja Holt to his inside. White flag is in the air. We are racing back to checkers, Matt.
Yeah, white flag in the air, Tony. That means just less than one more time around this 1.5-mile oval.
To the line they come. Stein on the inside, Sheridan on the top shelf.
And how about that, Tony?
Give it to Sheridan.
Sheridan, that 74, no quit can do. You have to be in it to win it. The nighttime is the right time. And those Toyotas at the end, that restart, set off at that restart, the 74, the 02 working together. And how about that for the Toyota camp? The top 5, all TRD affiliated. You got to go all the way back to 6. Alonso, the first Chevrolet. That was some great racing up front, great strategy on full display. Great win by the 74 of Brandon Sheridan, but he couldn't have done it without the help of Nick Stein in that 02.
It absolutely did come down to that, and the fact that Stein was pushing on Sheridan on that restart, the fact that they're teammates, that was night and day. That made all the difference here tonight. As well, he's getting ready to do his victory laps. I believe you've got our race winner with you now.
Brandon Sheridan, Matt Metler up in the SRM booth. You got me, sir.
No, you don't, because I put him in the wrong place.
It's easy to
Now
do.
you've got him.
We'll try it one more time here. Brandon Sheridan, Matt Metler up in the booth. You got me.
Oh, yes, sir, I do. Woo!
That's what I'm talking about. I wanted to hear some emotion out of you. You were fighting and clawing in a dogfight, all-out war that entire race. You never gave up. You got a push of a lifetime from your teammate there in the O2, and you're able to come across the line P1 when it mattered the most. Brandon, walk me through the final laps of that race.
Honestly, first of all, I just want to say, I feel bad. I feel so bad for Travis. He had the speed all race. He should be the one here right now. But for my teammate to give me such a great push on the restart, I don't know, man. I don't even know what to say. I put in 1,000 laps of practice this week, knowing this was going to be my first league race in months, maybe even a year almost. My first time. This is my first week back on iRacing in 4 months. It's just, I really appreciate Prodigy Esports and Alex Murray and DJ and Z and Nick and Travis and Sean. I just can't say enough, man. This win means an absolute ton to come out here for the first time and win. I feel like I could cry, and I'm a 25-year-old grown man.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. And coming off a hiatus, your first race back, so much preparation and time, and the sleepless nights you probably had, and to come out here and work with your teammate, a push of a lifetime. It looked like a restart at Talladega. If he pushed you a little bit harder, it was on the verge. You got to go back and watch that. It was masterful. And you come across the line P1. Could you have thought this could have ended any better for your return to iRacing?
Brother, I really, when it comes to situations like this, you can sit back and dream about it all day, but you have to put the work in. And, I usually don't wake up early, but I was waking up early every day, putting in, 3 50-lap runs, running 150, 200 laps by myself. This was actually my first time in traffic all week. And just to be able to put it in victory lane means so much to me and my family, man. It's just, I've been into racing my whole life. We've never had the money for a race car, and to be able to come on here and be competitive with, some of the best on this sim just means an absolute world. I actually have my fiance in the room. My mom came up from her apartment. Let's just say there'll probably be some drinking tonight, brother. So, and I want to give a shout out to my my niece and my nephew, Leland and Camila. I love them so much. And my best friend, Matt Power. And my boys, Ben Tubbs. There's so many people I could thank. Get me out of here, because I could talk for hours, brother.
Oh, Brandon, I love it. Cinderella's story. How bad do you want it? You can hear the emotion in his voice. This is the real deal for this man in the 74 machine, and to have his family, all his close relatives on board with him, high-fiving, couldn't have ended any better. Before I cut you loose, man, who helps you get it done on that 74 machine?
Everybody at Prodigy, man. We have these unbelievable drivers and, setup builders. We're a very small team. We're in there every day, building that chemistry, whether we play, first-person shooters or we're playing iRacing, whatever it is. We always sit down and bond, and I think that really carries over to when we set up build and we're all in the same room. And, we don't really build a setup specific for one person, but, we all give feedback, and then there's a medium, and then everybody learns how to drive it. So Alex Murray, DJ, RJ Root, Travis, Sean, Nick Stein, Z, I don't know, bro. There's so many people I could thank. It means the absolute world to me. And thank you for everything that you guys do for putting this on. And, shout out to Clips, P1 Coffee, Simrat Market, all those guys. They really help us put this team together. And boy, I'm probably going to go cry right now. So
Brandon, I couldn't be happier for you, man. So awesome to have your family, all your close friends there with you as you get it done. Race one back. So you know what? Have a couple beers, celebrate. And it's the same thing they talk about in real life, having that camaraderie, that common ground, that bond with your team, a big catalyst in the factor that helped put that 74 in P1 here in prime time tonight. Here's your winner, a very fired up and emotional Brandon Sheridan. Congratulations, man. Tony,
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, buddy. Tony, back to you.
And joining me now is the guy who pushed him to that victory, basically. Driver of the 0-2, after starting on pole, was kind of behind the 8-ball all night, but Nick Stein, when it came down to it, you were right where you needed to be.
Yeah, it's just one of those races, man. I mean, started first. I think at one point I was down in 35th, 36th with because of that speeding penalty on that first stop. And then it was just a dogfight the rest of the race. I'm really happy with that.
Something about those Toyotas that you guys have been running this season, it's been magical to watch. The fact that you guys basically dominated the plate track. You had very strong runs last week at California. Now we're at the first of the mile and a halves, and Toyota's clean sweep of the podium for the second time this season. And then we go into something completely different next week, and the D-shaped demon of the desert that is Phoenix Raceway. What are your thoughts going into the first mile track next week?
Feeling good for Phoenix. I did Prodigy Esports, all those guys over there. They just put so much work in every week, multiple hours into running laps, building these setups, just getting us as fast as possible. And tonight, I think that just proved it. I mean, it sucks, but my teammate Travis Cranborg, he got in that wreck. What was it? Right around lap 200ish, I guess. I don't remember. The last 60 laps were just a blur.
Yeah, it was 5 to go when that happened.
Yeah, I was talking about Travis Cranborg's wreck. He was just class of the field today. I mean, sucks for him, but I mean, 1, 2, 3 for the team. I can't thank those guys enough.
Well, Nick, who do you need to thank before we let you go celebrate the sweep of the podium?
Oh, I just got to thank team owner over there, Prodigy. I got Brandon over here messing with me. I just got to thank Alex Murray. He puts so much work into these setups. RJ Root, he puts a lot too. It's just everyone over there, all the sponsors, BRTV, P1 Coffee, all those guys. I just can't thank them enough for the amount of time, effort, and just the results that we're getting. It's crazy, to be honest.
Nick Stein, congratulations on a podium. We will see you next week in Phoenix.
Thank you, guys.
And Matt, I believe you've got the man who's going to round out our podium with you now.
Ryan, Matt up in the booth. You got me, sir.
Yeah, I got you guys. What is up?
We're going to ask you that same question. First off, 24 spots to the good tonight. That 81 machine was a fast hot rod there at the end. Coming third. Did that race kind of execute how you kind of planned it, or did you kind of have to call an audible as this one kind of got underway to kind of reposition yourself to get back towards the front?
Oh, good question. I mean, there was a lot of bumps in the road, but for the most part, it went to plan, probably a little bit better than plan. I knew once qualifying didn't go as well as I thought it was going to go. I had to change my game plan and just try to work my way up stage by stage. I knew I didn't need to get to the front right away. And I mean, the set we ran provided by Prodigy and all my teammates that finished 1-2 right here. And Travis, who was dominating earlier, RJ, who probably should have won. All these guys, the set was just so great long run where if you took care of it, it took you to the promised land. And I just needed to fine tune it to my liking, and I was able to do that a little bit of race, not many adjustments, but enough to keep me going from 28th to 15th and get from 15th to the 10th range and then be there at the end of the race because chaos is going to happen. So it like you said, it went better than expected, man. Like I'm hyped for it. Sorry to all my guys who got taken out, probably deserve that a little bit more than being in that top three. Like, I mean, Joe and even RJ and Travis and all them, but I will take it. I need to finish. We didn't finish whatsoever in the Auto Club at Daytona, taken out by my personal mistakes and others. So it's a relief to have this kind of finish, and it shows what we can do.
Yeah, great story of adapting and overcoming. How important or how critical was that dirty air when you were trying to save those tires? It seemed like with this next gen car in this aero package. When you guys were out there, just battling hard for position, it seemed like it was really tough to keep that car planted, especially on corner exit. Did that really impact how the difficulty of saving your equipment over the long run?
I mean, yeah, and just the nature, like how everyone was being this track, everyone was getting loose off the corner, and mentally I had to put myself like, I have to back up my entry so much, and it sucks because like on restarts and stuff like that, you just get obliterated by it. You get passed by 5 cars at a time, and all the position you gained, you have to now save even more to try to get them back 20 laps later, and it was just pure patience, man. Throughout the whole race, it was pure patience. That was the name of the game.
Mental toughness for sure, to be able just to pace yourself, let cars go, and knowing you'd make those positions back up in the end. He comes up again, 3rd position here tonight in the podium spot, up 24 spots. Ryan, before I cut you loose, who helps you get it done on that Toyota?
Definitely run more. I mean, if you use code RACEMORE at checkout on letsrunmore.com, get 10% off your order of fresh new running shoes. You gotta have some comfortable shoes out there. Magic out there has always been the car. Obviously, the guys back at Prodigy. You guys were putting on a great show. I can't wait to go back and watch it. Was able to listen to it under caution a little bit. You guys are doing great. Teamwork here, obviously, with Nick and Brandon, everyone. Like I said, back at Prodigy, and yeah, that's the road.
Ryan, Tony, and I certainly appreciate the kind words. It's been a pleasure watching you do battle, and everyone under prime time, like at Las Vegas, doing battle out there on the racetrack. We'll cut you loose. Go celebrate that one with your team. Able to right the ship. It gets home in the top 3 today in Las Vegas. That's your 3rd place finisher here tonight. That's Ryan Samuelson.
And that's going to put another one in the books for us. Take a quick look at our finishing order tonight. Brandon Sheridan, Nick Stein, Ryan Samuelson. We spoke to those 3 already. Steve Cornez coming home in 4th. Jeff Carson rounding out your top 5. Eugenio Alonso in 6th. Alex Princeton, Kavaja Holt, Leo Bonacasa, and Rick Jett rounding out your top 10. Randy Spivey, Dalton Mobley, Chad Stanner, Lauren Jones, Chris Claude, your top 15, with Joseph Cossey, Ken Ron, and RJ Root. Tanner Marty and Alexander Gangler rounding out your top half of the field. Tanner Marty, the last car scored on the lead lap in 19th. Matt?
Yeah, in 20th, that's going to be Alexander Glenier. In 21st, that's going to be David Regal, a.k.a. Mr. Rogers, off the pace, 1 lap down tonight. 22nd belongs to Brian Turnout. 23rd, Joseph Stafford. In 24th, Charles Eaton. In 25th, SRM's own Emily Urias has the top 25, 4 laps down off the pace tonight. 26th, that's going to be Matthew Gaskins. 27th, that's the 31 of Aaron Mack. 28th, John Wilco. 29th, that's going to be Travis Kryborg, who was up front. You heard from the top finishers tonight. They felt like he had the car to win. He should have been in victory lane. He finds himself on the wrong side of a late race caution, miring him back in traffic. In 20th and 30th tonight, that's going to be the 63 of Robert Nestor. 31st, Steve Gilbertson. 32nd, that's going to belong to Bennett Allen. 33rd, Tony Burt. 34th, John Crow Sr. And we're getting here outside the top 35, Nicholas Brendenbach. 35th, 36th, Austin Story. 37th, John Buada. 38th, Sean Rogers. 39th, coming home this evening, that's going to be the 27 of J.C. Gibson. In 40th, Dave Fugue Jr., and in 41st, the 03 of R.P. Allen. 42nd, the 91 of Zachary Vaughn. And I believe these other cars further down the list did not start the field tonight. But 42nd, Zachary Vaughn. 43rd, Bradley Gunn. And 44th tonight, the 18 of Chris Custer.
Actually, Frug was the last one to take the green. And I believe R.P. Allen was up in race control tonight. So that is going to do it for us here on the SNN coverage. Again, be sure to join us tomorrow night as we've got a triple header in store for you. The SCL International Cup Series from Round 7 from Chicagoland. And then if you haven't gotten enough Vegas action, the CleanRacing.net Truck Series will be here tomorrow night, as well as the SNN Xfinity Series will be here tomorrow night. 8:20 Eastern Time start on the clean race, and I do not have the specifics on the SNN Cup Series, but Dave Regal will be on the call for that one. For Mr. Matt Metler, this is your pastor. Remind you, ladies and gentlemen, that until we meet again, and as you walk down the road of life this week, tell your family you love them, and don't play in traffic. Good night, everybody.